Oh, of course.
I just went live.
Hello, everyone.
Where are they? Where are they? Are they fired?
Yeah.
15 seconds. Here we go.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the morning to you. How's your week going? As we get over the hump together, how the heck are you? Miller and Moulton here on this Thursday edition on the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. 10 days away from the big fella making his annual return. And as Mark Miller pointed out to me before the show, undefeated, unscored upon, never tied. How are you?
I'm doing well. I am in a little bit of a Moulton mode this morning. I went and caught a sporting event last night, so I was up a little later than usual, a little sleep deprived.
So we've changed roles. I was the one that went to bed early and got sleep, and you're out and about.
That's it. Exactly.
All right. Good deal. Good deal. I think, you know what? Maybe we should make that part of our thing. Early in the week, I'm the zombie. Okay. You have to be the intellectual wizard and carry us, to about hump day. And then, after Wednesday's show, you're free to gallivant around Southwest Florida. I'll take over from here.
I think I'm going to shed a tear. Intellectual. What did you call me? What was that? Holy cow.
I don't know. I think Felipe's going to have to play the tape back.
I'm going to hold you to it. That's for certain.
I can tell you in the 15 plus years we've been doing this, I think it's the first time I've ever said it about either one of us.
Intellectual wizardry.
Wow. Damn.
Wow.
Just could you tell I got 9 hours sleep?
You are raring to go this morning.
My goodness. I mean, I almost feel like exercising. Almost. That's how much sleep I got.
We have been calling the Dolphins game that they've had back-to-back double bogeys, and they are on the long par 4 into the wind. And, David, you striped that drive into the wind with the start of the show today. That's all I'm saying.
Mark, I striped the drive. I hit the long iron stiff. Okay, I just birdied the number 1 handicap hole. So I'm playing bogey golf on the back 9, baby. Double birdie. There you go. 3 over through 3. Let's go. This round's still salvageable. Whew. I am, however, I woke up disappointed. Not for anything I did. All right.
No one signed for 13 years and $300 million in baseball overnight?
Well, that's always a disappointment. I mean, I just love outrageous contracts. How can you do sports talk radio and not love an outrageous contract? But, Mark, you and I love many things in life. And even though you and I are very different, the one thing that we have always liked together, even from our early days in Act 1, is chaos. We're a fan of it. I think in part because you and I spent the first 40 years of our lives creating it in our own lives, so we now want to see it from others.
Dadgum good point right there. If you really think about that for a moment. Maybe
mean,
closer to 30, 35, but I definitely get your point, David, that we were creators of chaos and now we want to be observers of chaos.
Exactly. We'll try to rein it in a little bit ourselves, but you out there, please feel free. Continue with the fine lineage of chaos. So one thing I was aware of as I passed out last night early is that the California Board of Regents was actually meeting to vote on whether or not they were going to allow UCLA to go to the Big Ten. And I so hoped when I woke up this morning that they voted no. I so hoped that they voted no, because let's face it, we would have loved to have seen that we're going to the Big Ten. We're not going to let you. What do you mean you're not going to let? Who the hell are you? We're the Board of Regents.
And USC, the private school, stand there going, hey, this was a package deal, but we really don't need you.
I was going to say, if that, we'll call Stanford.
Hello?
I mean,
Hello, Oregon? Hi. Remember us?
right. Yeah. Remember, we were going to, we lost our partner. Okay. Are you ready for the dance competition? We need a dance partner. So I was so hoping. And it was 11-5 was the vote. I mean, there were still 5 of us kindred spirits, Mark. Those 5 people are our kindred spirits. I mean, what I really would have loved was an 8-8 vote, but a no vote would have been second best. And unfortunately, they're going to let him go. That would have been fun.
So with that being said, tomorrow night on the Big Ten Network, John Wooden, the Big Ten's all-time winningest basketball coach.
Well, he was a product of Purdue, Mark. Okay, so we've been claiming him for a long time. That's what they're going to say. Yep.
Heisman Trophy case got a little bit thicker, a few more in it.
Yep. And our Big Ten profiles, Lou Alcindor. Correct. Mm-hmm. So that was the one thing, it took me about 10, 15 minutes, after the coma that I was in, and I got up and the water in my face, took a pill, the whole deal, bada bing, bada boom. And then I'm like, ooh, before I shower, are they allowed to leave the neighborhood? Apparently they have to pay a toll, though. I have to pay a toll. I had to agree to some conditions and pay a toll on the way out. I'm from Jersey. That's how we frame everything, right?
By the way, it's California. You might as well call it a tax.
Well, but
they've got those down there.
Yes, they do. But in fact, Mark, it's so little money, it doesn't even qualify as a tax. I mean, 2 to 10 million doesn't even qualify as a tax in California. It's more like a toll.
Fair enough. I was just trying to keep it relatable to the state that
to the rest of the republic. I got it. Mm-hmm. Miller and Moulton on this Thursday, and believe it or not, got a key football game tonight. I'm curious if anybody's going to make time for it.
They should.
San Francisco at Seattle. It's a key game for both. Niners win. They clinch the West, I believe. They'd be 3 up with 3 to play, and they will sweat the Seahawks. So, A, they clinch the division, but also, B, then they really start to put pressure on the Vikings because they have a better conference record than Minnesota. So they're only 1 back in the loss column. So if they keep on winning, Minnesota's got to win out to stay the 2 seed.
And Seattle's in a tough spot now just trying to make the postseason because they are reeling.
If you're Washington, if you're a fan of Washington, if you're a fan of the Giants, if you're a Detroit Lions fan, when's the last time you had to do a little scoreboard watching? Huh? Detroit Lions fan? You need a Seattle loss here.
In a big way.
Because you're competing with either Seattle or the team that loses the Washington Giants showdown, Giants, for that final playoff spot. You beat the Giants, but they got that tie. So you're not going to finish tied with the Giants, but you lost to the Seahawks. So, you finished 9-8, they finished 9-8, you're staying home. So this is a big game. Big game for San Francisco, Seattle, Minnesota, Washington, the Giants, and Detroit.
And how badly things could go for Seattle if they lose this one. They got the Chiefs on the schedule next.
Exactly. And then they have another tough one after it, don't they?
Jets and Rams is how they finish.
So, this ain't going to be easy. Translation, remember when we said the Giants like a month ago were hosting Detroit, and we're like, if you look at the schedule, they really need to win this game. And they lost it. Look at the predicament they're in. Seattle last week, home for Carolina. Well, when you look at the remaining schedule, it's like, we really need to win this game. And they lost it. But I have a question. How many of us have basically tuned Thursday Night Football out?
I think a lot of people have. I have been met with more people complaining about we have become so accustomed to flipping channels, David. No one can watch a commercial anymore, which is amazing with the amount of money advertisers are spending to pay to
and
be
not
on
be seen.
Thursday night football and Sunday
Right.
night football and the rest. But the one thing I get from most people when you have to go off whatever it is you use to access television and to put Prime on, you can't just flip from Prime to wherever the basketball game is. And that bothers people. I know a lot of people who have the Xfinity app or Xfinity TV, and they can simply just go to Prime through the remote, but you can't flip off of it as easily. That's the complaint I get from people.
Wow. Man, are we spoiled.
Very.
Whew. Problem is, we ain't going to change, right? Once you go soft, it's tough to toughen up again. But the reason I brought it up is that Fox really deserved the credit when they took on Thursday Night Football 5 years ago, and they put Joe and Troy on it, and they put a lot of effort into it. And they built it up to 14 million people a Thursday. Thursday Night Football beat Monday Night Football head-to-head last year by 500,000 viewers. Now, if you throw in the Manning cast, they didn't, but just head-to-head. All right, Thursday Night Football won 14 million. Well, from the numbers that I see, Mark, they're doing like half that. Maybe. That's even if we believe them, but they're doing like half that. Truth Serum, you're Goodell right now. You had to do this deal over again. Would you do it?
I think I would, because inevitably, David, the streaming aspect of this is the future. I'd rather be ahead of the curve than behind the curve. I'd rather have my audience learning how to access my games on streaming before they're accessing others. Okay.
And let's face it, they're getting $1 billion plus, and they were getting 600 million from Fox, to give you an idea. They got $500 million more by going the streaming route than if they had stayed the network route. And remember, Fox was done. Fox had said, we are not interested in renewing this. In fact, Fox sold their final year off to Amazon. They said, here, you want it? Take it. So we have Thursday Night Football tonight. You may have already forgotten. The NFL plays on Thursdays.
And we can't emphasize enough, this is a big game
for
the two teams playing and for a handful of fan bases in the NFC.
So there you go. You got Mark Miller, who's sleep deprived, and you have David Moulton, who got 9 hours sleep. So I am just going to be annoying as hell.
Raring to go this morning. We have a great show lined up for you. Matt Cannata will join us in the 7 o'clock hour. Pat Kirwan at 8 o'clock. Dr. Roto to answer your fantasy questions. And FAU coach Tom Herman in the bonus hour at 9 a.m.
How about that? Is that our show?
That is. Miller and Moulton. Yeah.
Wow, it's worth getting up for.
Who knew? Right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686. Or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, Nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles. Check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Now, DC, the Bears have the two teams that right now are the 2-1 seeds the next 2 weeks, Eagles and Bills. But what's interesting is they have Lions and Vikings the last 2 weeks of the year. So they could be in the official role of spoiler, if you know what I mean. At Detroit, home for Minnesota. Also, 3 of their last 4 are at home. So do you care at all about your home fans? Because if you don't play Fields, I don't know if there's a reason to show up. Game time temperature for Dallas, Jacksonville, Sunday. Let's see here. It's going to be cool. It's going to be it's going to be mid-50s. It's going to be like 55. Today's the last warm day in Jacksonville by Florida standards. By the way, leading into Christmas, they're talking about temperatures in the 20s in Jacksonville. Christmas Eve, we may have a high of like 40.
Enjoy.
Yeah.
Where are you Christmas weekend? Is there a Monday night game on the 26th?
Of course there is, Mark.
David, I don't know when Monday Night Football ends.
Mercifully, it ends January 2nd. But, Mark, we're in Indianapolis again. Yeah. Oh, yeah, baby. That's right. I think it's the Chargers. Yep. We're in Green Bay, Indianapolis, Cincinnati, and then we wait to see. We don't have a Monday game on January 9th because that's a national championship. We're doing a Saturday game, and we don't know which one yet.
And then one playoff game, right?
Right. We have a pool. Not really a pool. It's a contest. Guess the game that we're going to get for Saturday, January 7th. And I guessed 6 weeks ago, Jets at Dolphins. That's my guess. Prime time, 8 o'clock. Adam, I've spent time in Jacksonville before moving here. I sent my daughter to college here. Done the cocktail party like 17 years in a row.
Yeah.
I mean, I've eaten in Jacksonville. I know a few places.
Applebee's and Chili's. He's trying to give you some other places. I mean, McDonald's and Chick-fil-A. I got you covered. We know you know those.
No.
I think Adam's trying to be nice there. We are coming at the poor guy. He didn't even make some terrible Jags comment about Trevor Lawrence winning the division. All he said is saltwater Cowboys and Gator.
You know what, Adam?
Crying out loud.
Adam, I apologize.
Holy cow.
I apologize.
Sure you
All
won't
right.
get Dallas and Washington if Washington still has a shot?
Don't know.
Or do they have to both have a shot? Is that how this works?
No. There's many different choices. Hell, we could get Tennessee, Jacksonville. I mean, we're just trying to guess. NBC needs a game that's the best game of the week. Fox needs a good game. CBS needs a good game. ABC, ESPN is going to get 2 games on Saturday. One will be crap. One will be good. So basically, you have to try to forecast,
10 seconds.
Gotcha.
So I'm guessing Jets at Dolphins.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. Top of the morning to you. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Here we are, 10 days before the big fella. Handful of days away from Hanukkah. It's that time of year. How you doing on your list, by the way?
My Christmas list? I would have to make a Christmas list in order to have started on my Christmas list yet.
How about a mental list? Hey, don't forget. Oh, yeah, I got to get somebody something.
I know what I'm getting the kid. The daughter's done. The wife took care of that. I know what I'm getting the kid.
Hold on. Is that how it is in the family? That your son is just the kid?
The kid.
And then the 8-year-old is the daughter.
The daughter.
The kid and
the daughter.
Right.
And I have some ideas for the wife, although I would solicit any member of our audience who's female to text 21,000 of what you think good gifts are. I need help this year. It's been a struggle.
So for those watching on Twitch, I'm actually holding this up. My wife, Mark, you're halfway there. Okay. But, we've been married over a quarter of a century. I mean, now basically, the trust factor is gone. She knows I'm an idiot. And so she just wrote down
a list.
Hey, yeah. Just wrote it down. Yeah. I got 4 things on it. Yeah. Any 2 of these 4, basically. It's kind of like when, Dr. Roto joins us in 2 hours and somebody has a fantasy question and they go, hey, PPR league, I need 2 of these 4. That's what I got here on the piece of paper. And 2 of them are books. And I'm like, where do you go to buy those? Haven't they all closed? I'm not shopping online,
Yeah, God forbid you press a few buttons and something shows up at your door the next day.
Exactly. I believe that's called Amazon. I'm not interested in that. Apparently, it's like cheaper than you can buy it online and have it delivered cheaper than if you go and buy it in person. Why would I be interested in that?
No, waste some gas, go out and
Totally.
mail back your receipt with a stamp if you want, David.
Well, I was going to say on the way to the bookstore, I'll drop off my mail at the post office. Right.
I did feel for you yesterday. I was playing golf yesterday, and the guy I'm playing golf with started talking about how disoriented he was in the morning and kind of disheveled, how you were yesterday in the show. And he says, yeah, I was going to mail out these 2 letters, and I just left them here in the golf cart. And I'm like, yep, mailing out letters, huh? People still do that, huh?
You say, man, I got a co-host like you.
Yep.
And mornings are charming. So my wife just, cut right to it. Is your wife to that point yet? Has she just started telling you, listen, get me this?
Close. It's a touch more subtle because we both have the ability to get into one another's phones with the codes. We both know each other's access code to our phone. So what my wife does is she keeps a list of things she wants in her notes in her phone. And it's my job every 6 months or so to break into the phone and forward that list to myself.
And she's aware of this? She knows you're going to break in?
Oh, yeah. I mean, the title of the note is gift ideas.
Honey, here's what I want. That's the subject matter. All right. Good. Wow. I do like the breaking into the phone. Because I have to admit, obviously, I'm madly in love with my wife and the whole deal. If she's breaking into my phone, we got problems. I'll just tell you that right now. Wallet and phone. I don't care. Don't care.
Well, first off, I don't want your wife to hurt her back trying to lift that wallet with all the cards that are in it.
That's true. She could throw a shoulder out.
There's no doubt there.
Right.
So even after a quarter of a century, the phone and the wallet are off limit.
Off limits. Absolutely.
21,000 is the text line. What is off limits to your spouse? Because there's nothing in my phone that I need to hide from her. And I don't carry a wallet.
I don't know that there's anything in my phone either.
But just you want
thought
that
of it.
last
Right. Well,
beacon of privacy.
Yes. And here's why. Can you go in her purse?
Yeah, whenever whenever.
No, seriously.
Yeah, wouldn't bother.
Not when she's like in the bathroom and she's like, "Hey, can you go in my purse and grab me the?" No. I mean, like you're just sitting there. You could reach over, grab her purse, and like go in it looking for a paper clip or a pen or something. Really?
I think so. That's
Try
a
it.
Great question.
Try it. Try it. My money's on no flipping way.
I think there's just a little bit more trust in our house, David.
Maybe morale's higher. I don't know. We don't talk about these things. Okay.
You are right.
But there's a test. I think you can find how you stand. If you can just reach over, grab her purse, and just start going through it, and she doesn't look at you like, when you're done, I'm going to kill you. I mean, stab you in the neck and everything right in front of our child. What are you doing? You just violated like 2 international treaties. What are you doing?
I'm doing it tonight.
Okay.
I'm doing it. I'm going in.
And you got to and you got to give me a legitimate effort too. Just do it.
I'll tell you what, it might not be tonight because we have the wife's work Christmas party, but if I really want to pull it off, I may do it at the Christmas party.
Now see, that's like, firing the person at a public restaurant because they're not going to cause a scene.
She can't do anything if I do it there.
No, but I'll tell you what, the ride home, she could be like, what the?
Exactly.
Going through my purse. I mean, it could cost you tonight. I mean, tonight's a chance for a make it happen night. Okay. It could cost you. So just be calculated. You might want to wait, till Friday night.
That's a damn good poll question right there. Can you go into your wife's purse without repercussions?
Without asking. And no. And so that's why, to me, the wallet's off limits. And as for the phone, it's my space. I got a lot of numbers there. I got notes, messages to myself. Besides, wait a minute, you've got my code. How do you have my code?
So she can get in your phone if need be.
Yeah. No, you need permission. Okay? I know we occasionally sleep together, but you still need permission. All right.
21,000 is our text line. You can just do this with a very simple answer. You can just text Miller or you can text Moulton. I'll know exactly what you mean.
Now, I will say people could be split. They could be on my side about the whole wallet purse thing, but be against me with the phone. But I take it that extra step. See, the problem is I don't know my wife's password to her phone. She has figured out my password.
Figured it out.
Yeah.
You didn't give it to her. She just had a pretty good idea what the digits might be and worked through she cracked the safe.
Pretty
basically,
much.
She beat you in the Price is Right game. You're still sitting there.
Exactly. Yeah, the guy's still yodeling in the background.
Yeah, you're going to be the first one up on the Showcase Showdown.
Right.
And she's sitting in the back with all the prize money, laughing at you.
Right. She'll be the last one knowing how much she needs to beat. I need to beat 70 cents. Okay, I'll spin the wheel. Right. Yep. So there you go. FSN Radio, all one word if you've never texted us before, and you'll get a slew of people who've never texted us before. Now, they'll chime in about this. Sports, whatever.
Thursday night football, couldn't care less.
Right.
But a wallet purse controversy, I am in on that. Miller and Moulton breaking down the hottest topics of the day. We'll do that next with the starting five. It's right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. Yeah, Canada Relief, that was last week. It was a pretty ugly fight. One dude got filled. Looks like Moulton just went in his wife's purse and she beat the crap out of him. I don't know if he's going to make it back. It's the Jets. It'll get people watching. Did she hit you?
She's out exercising.
I thought you went right into the purse there. I thought you went out and said, F it, I'm going right in.
No.
By the way, I've got texts for days. And we don't get a lot of text on this show.
Right. Yep. I'm Marco the Great, huh? That's interesting. All right, but apparently we're separated at birth. Okay, Marco. Adam, I don't think Philly pays close attention to any of our conversations, but that would be one he could store away if he
15
was. It's probably a best of Philly,
I
that
agree.
segment.
Here we go.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour, Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Thanks so much for being with us. Good show lined up. Matt Cannata, an hour from now. Pat Kirwan joins us today instead of tomorrow. He's got stuff going on. He needs to move it up. Pat's his own producer. Pat lets us know when we're getting them. So it's just kind of the relationship we have. You know, in
He's fired up
return,
too.
is he?
Yep.
Really? All right. Well, you know, he was at a hockey game last night, you know, having a cold one or two with his buddies. So, I mean, I know he was fired up last night. We'll see if he's still fired up in an hour and 20 minutes.
He's fired up. Trust me. We'll
Okay.
get vintage Pat Kirwan today. I'm already fired up for his appearance.
Wow. 2 hours from now, by the way, Dr. Roto, your fantasy football questions with the playoffs. Yeah, it's money time, baby. He's good for that sort of thing.
David, a slew of early text. I will say you're leading the clubhouse, and I knew you would, but because people are afraid of their wife's purse. So you are the early leader. But I will say I did get this one. It was from one of our female listeners. Miller, my husband and I have the same passcode, dual income, no kids. We need to be able to access each other's info should something bad happen. Also, I end up carrying his phone in my purse when we were out along with his keys.
So basically, I'm Al Haig. I'm in charge here. Okay.
That's right.
All right. He's lucky I let him drive.
And when it comes to gifts, this texter just said, my wife ordered her gift and said I can wrap it when it comes. I absolutely love that idea.
So we received a package yesterday, and it had my wife's name on it. Because Mark, like the packages that come to the house have your name on it.
Never.
Exactly. So my wife opens it and she goes, "Oh, this is what you bought me." She opens it up, puts on this black leather jacket. She goes, "I haven't had one of these in a while. You give great gifts." I go, "Yeah, I do. Yeah, you look good. Thanks."
Didn't want to wait till the 25th to open that, I take it.
No. So, I'll wait about 3 weeks till the charge bill comes and see how much I paid for it. So that'll be good.
Good to know you can still get a good gift, David.
It's good to know I'm still a great gift buyer. Yes. And then not only that, she's been buying herself gifts all month, and I still have the list of the stuff that apparently Santa needs to abide by. Yeah. So apparently, despite all the packages that are showing up, if 2 out of these 4 things don't arrive,
Can I just ask why 2 of the 4? Was that her ratio that she gave, or is that your thoughts of the 4 things?
yeah, that's, the 25 plus years, I realize half the list needs to appear under the tree.
Okay. Just, I was curious as to where you broke down the list.
Especially since they're all pretty modest. It's not like there's one big one and 3 other things. If that's the case, you just get the big one and you just say, "Well, don't know what to tell you." Enjoy. Let me know when it's Saturday night. That sort of deal. But 19 minutes before the hour, time now for
The Starting Five. 5 stories you need to know. It's the Starting Five on Miller and Moulton. Here's number 1.
We'll lead with the NFL. I mean, why not? People seem interested. Arizona Cardinals general manager Steve Keim took a medical leave of absence. The Cardinals issued a very interesting statement. They said, he's going on medical leave, and we can't tell you why per the law. Interesting. Which certainly leads one to then, think that this is, more than just the guy needs 2 weeks off. So Steve Keim did seek alcohol treatment a handful of years ago. So the Cardinals right now are 4-9. Their quarterback has a torn ACL. Don't know when they're getting him back. Calls for the head coach to be fired, who they just signed to a contract extension. That's the thing, Mark. Everybody 6 months ago got an extension. GM, coach, and quarterback. And apparently we don't even know if 2 of the 3 can talk to one another at any given time. That's how well things are going. Colts owner Jim Irsay says he's not ready to oust Daniel Snyder yet. But at the same time, Bank of America did come out and publicly say, yeah, we're moving forward as if we're selling this sucker. Yeah, as far as we know, the Commanders are for sale, baby. So, in translation, Jim Irsay's been told by the league, keep your damn mouth shut. It looks like he's going to leave quietly. Got it?
Well, that'll be miraculous. Jim Irsay keeping his mouth shut.
Yeah, you ain't kidding. Thursday night football. Niners at Seahawks. It's actually a battle of winning teams. That's pretty good for Thursday night football. San Francisco trying to clinch the West with a win. Seattle, realistically thinking wild card. They need a W. At 7-6. Washington, the Giants, Detroit, and for you Packer fans out there who have dreams of running the table, you're all rooting for the Niners tonight. Meanwhile, the Vikings are rooting for the Seahawks because the Vikings want to be the 2 seed. And I know everybody thinks, the Niners are better than the Vikings. They're going to beat them. Remember, San Francisco is going to enter the playoffs with Brock Purdy as quarterback. I mean, on the road, we have no idea if Brock Purdy can play. In fact, Mark, I think that's the intriguing thing about tonight's game. Brock Purdy's going to have to play a road game. And he's going to have to play it in one of the tougher road places to play. They make a lot of noise there. So we'll see. Big game for Seattle. Key game for Frisco. Seahawks getting Kenneth Walker back. Right now it's 3.5 the Niners are favored by. I think the half is key. Over under 43. So basically 23-20 Niners. That's what Vegas is saying. make your bets accordingly. College football news. Mississippi State is promoting defensive coordinator Zach Arnett to become head coach full-time. They're going to give him a 4-year deal. He's the one who stepped in the night that Mike Leach had his heart attack, which proved to be fatal. He's been keeping the team together. He actually landed a big-time recruit yesterday during all this. So Zach Arnett, who was defensive coordinator under Leach and had chances to leave a year ago and stayed. Mississippi State rewarding him. He'll become their head coach. The Cal Board of Regents last night officially approved UCLA's move to the Big Ten with conditions. The conditions are they have to do a lot more for the student athletes than they were planning on doing. Basically, the Board of Regents said, do you know how difficult you're going to make their lives with all the travel that's involved? You need to come up with a lot more things on the side, if you know what I'm saying. And then apparently, Mark, the University of California needed to be paid. That this move by UCLA, quote, really hurts Cal, unquote. Which is funny because I think there's about 8 or 10 other schools in the Pac-12 who go, well, it kind of hurts us too.
Yeah, but none of them are California state schools.
There you go. So UCLA is going to have to write a check to Cal for between $2 and $10 million. And I love the fact that it's dependent on how much pain this causes Cal and what kind of Pac-12 TV deal do they get. So if I'm UCLA, I'm planning on it being $10 million right about now.
In fact, David, I'd just write the check for $10 million and call it a day.
Exactly.
In fact, I may call Kevin Warren and say, Kevin, we need it in advance. Just make the first $10 million check of it to University of Cal. Send it to Berkeley, and we'll call this sucker a day, all right?
Right. And I'll tell you what, it's a couple of years down the road. Call us if you think it's not enough. Maybe we can throw a little something together. We'll schedule you in a couple of games. NBA, and even though the Magic and Heat both won, that's not the lead story. Steph Curry hurt his left shoulder last night, and we don't know how badly. We know it was bad enough for him to leave the game late third quarter and never to return. He was in a sling after the game. Curry was amazing last night while he played. He had scored damn near half the team's points, 38 of their 80. Without him, they lost at Indiana, 125-119. That's lunch, right? I won lunch?
You did.
You took the Warriors? Hey, the Magic have won their 4th straight.
Because you predicted them to lose. You are on a
Correct.
roll.
I
and
am.
did it on purpose for them to win.
And it worked, huh? Orlando by 11 over Atlanta, 135-124. There's problems in Atlanta. Trae Young and the coach and what have you, there's problems in Atlanta. That's worth paying attention to. The Heat, and we may hear more of this later. I'm just hinting. All right. Got 9 threes from Tyler Hero, including a really late one. 3 of his 35. Heat edged OKC on the road, 110-108. By the way, Mark, the Heat are 14-15, which in their division is good enough for a tie for first. So the Heat are essentially in the NFC South right now because they're in with Atlanta and Orlando and like Charlotte. So, yeah. So we really don't have to worry about the Heat making the playoffs. It's just a matter of what seed they're going to be. The Knicks won their 5th straight. In overtime in Chicago, 128-120. Hey, the Sacramento Kings, they started 0-4, and since then they're 15-8. They went to Toronto and beat the Raptors last night by 124-123. And Donovan Mitchell thanked the Dallas Mavericks last night. He said, you know, if the Mavs hadn't beaten me and us in Utah in the first round last year and knocked us out of the playoffs, I wouldn't have wanted to get out of there. But since they did, now I'm in Cleveland. And so his thank you gift to Dallas was to score 34 against them, and Cleveland won by 15.
Think about that. I'm happy to leave Utah to go to Cleveland.
Right. And by the way, the Mavs are 500. Just throwing that out there. There's some big name teams that are scuffling to start the year. College hoops. Well, you heard it here. I mean, we brought Bobby Regan on 8 o'clock yesterday morning. He said the most overrated team in the country was Maryland. They hosted UCLA. They got beat by 27. All right. I mean, we can't do any more for you than that. UCF beat Ole Miss by 11. Good road win for Johnny Dawkins' crew. They're 8-2. Stetson lost at Charleston. FAU beat St. Thomas. The Gators whooped up on the Ohio Bobcats at Amalie Arena in Tampa, 82-48. Women's hoops, South Florida winner. Jacksonville lost at Ole Miss. UCF got beat by unranked Tennessee. Haven't said that many times in the last 40 years. Tennessee beat them by 35. 3 games in the NHL last night. Wild over the Wings 4-1. Ottawa edged Montreal 3-2. Speaking of Ottawa, Gary Bettman at the Board of Governors meetings, Mark. By the way, they're at Breakers in West Palm. You know, they're
lovely place, David.
Right. Any time of year. He basically said the league would love to have Ryan Reynolds' group own the Senators. That's because the NHL owners realize that between all the social media he's on, he's got 100 million followers. The one owner said, well, hell, if he tweets about this team 7 times, it's worth whatever he paid for it. By the way, Bettman backing you up. You were bemoaning yesterday. There's talk in NHL circles about expanding the playoffs. Gary Bettman said, no.
Yeah, the Board of Governors wants it, and Bettman is adamantly against it.
Yeah, he says it's a bad idea. We have the best first round of any playoffs, and don't fix what's not broken.
Amen.
World Cup, France beat Morocco 2-0. We get the headline finale. Argentina and France. Messi's going to get his first. Mbappe's going to get his second. Messi gets to ride off into the sunset, or France becomes the first repeat champion since Brazil in 58 and 62. Hello. 10 a.m. Sunday, by the way, on Big Fox. Baseball quickly. Noah Syndergaard signed a 1-year, $13 million deal with the Dodgers. And former Rays lefty Ryan Yarbrough signed a 1-year deal with the Royals. And that, gentleman, was...
That was the Starting 5 every weekday morning at this time on Miller and Moulton.
One other footnote, Bettman hinted, by the way, 30 years on the job for Gary Bettman that they're celebrating at these Board of Governors meetings. Bettman said, yeah, the players aren't done paying off all the money that they borrowed during the pandemic. So as of right now, the cap's only going up $1 million next year. Now, if they can find a way to pay off the $70 million that they owe, the cap may go up like $4 million. But right now, it's count on $1 million. So that was the bad news that came out of those meetings. But it's at the Breakers in West Palm, so, you know, how bad can the news be?
Delicious hamburger there, David, just saying.
Under or over $30?
I didn't pay, so I had no idea. I didn't look at that. I think it was under. I think it was like 25, if memory serves me right.
Wow, how long ago was that?
Last year before?
Oh, that's not bad. I would have guessed the over. Well, I'll tell you what, if you put a slice of cheese on it, that would have been at least $5.
Miller and Moulton. We'll get back to the serious questions of the day, whether or not you can go into your wife's purse and or phone. The text lines have exploded on this subject. We'll have the answers on the other side. Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
Of course.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here.
Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686. or book on saltlifetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs, presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs, powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network. So Sean Miller escapes sanctions.
Yes, nothing.
Nothing.
And the one assistant gets a 10-year show cause.
Yeah, one got a 2, one got a 10, right?
Mm-hmm. Richardson, I think, got the 10. Is it Boo or Pooh Richardson?
Yeah.
He got the 10.
But Sean Miller did nothing.
Nothing. Didn't DeAndre Ayton get like money in a bag? Didn't they have it on tape?
Yeah, but it was all the assistants, David.
All of it.
Anybody else wish he'd be a little more gentle when he sets those things down? It hurts my ears. Believe it or not, Larry, I do. This can be done this way, and we do just fine. It's a little better if we're next to one another. But it'd be a long commute.
Really would. And it'd be very costly for me.
You shouldn't have to stop to get gas on your ride to work each way. Oh, we got bowl games starting tomorrow.
Yes, we do.
We got the Bahamas Bowl.
Yep. Got 2 games tomorrow.
Let's see who Musburger likes.
Mm-hmm.
Both Brent and Steve Mankin like Miami.
And of course, that's Miami of Ohio, because the Canes couldn't qualify for one.
Right. And they are split on the Troy-San Antonio game.
30 seconds.
There it is.
Bull is amazing.
Huh?
Bull. I love Bull.
Plays for the Orlando Magic, Mark. He had a tremendous highlight last night.
Sounded like an interesting dish. I'll have the poll, please.
It's a picture of a fan asking Bull to sign a Bull.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Hour 2 of Miller and Moulton on this Thursday. Hanukkah around the corner. Christmas 10 days away. Hope your week's going well. If you haven't started shopping yet, you really may want to. All right, that's all we're saying. You know, and if you need to mail something to somebody, I'd do it by Saturday. That's all I'm saying. Just trying to be helpful. That now we'll go back to regularly scheduled programming already in progress. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Matt Cannata scheduled to join us in about 35 minutes. Pat Kirwan in an hour. That's right. Normally Fridays, moving himself up to Thursdays. Apparently so fired up he couldn't wait. And Dr. Roto, hold off about an hour or so. Once we get to the 8 o'clock hour, once you hear Pat, you can start sending in your fantasy football questions. Playoffs getting underway. Dr. Roto to join us in about an hour and a half.
But the hardcore subject today that we have approached came early in the show when I simply stated that I go into my wife's phone and she goes into my phone whenever we please. We know each other's passcodes, and if we need something in there to look up something, we can do so without having to consult the other. And David thought that was blasphemy. And I said, I could go into her purse, in which he told me I'm a liar.
No way.
Because I'm nuts. He doesn't believe me.
No way.
But tonight at some point, I will infiltrate my wife's purse without permission.
Yeah, but see, that's cheating because you're going to be at a public event. She's not going to do anything. I mean, maybe...
I'll do it before we leave. I'll do it just to see how the ride is.
Sure, you couldn't just wait till Friday. It's an off day, if you know what I mean.
I got you.
You know, Saturdays, there's always events this time of year. You got an event on Thursday. Just wait for the off day, Friday, and see if you can get away with it.
So you can really just text the show right now. 21,000 is the number, 21000, and you can text Miller or Moulton. We'll understand. But
Right.
This person says, Miller, with the following, enter for purpose, not for browsing. And I think that's an accurate statement. You know, if I'm going in to get her read, like, you know, she always has, we both wear cheaters. We're both of the age where we need cheaters. When we go to the restaurant and go out, I don't usually bring mine. I use hers. So I could see, like tonight, for instance, just reaching in her purse, grabbing her cheaters out and putting them on. What are you doing? I'm going to get your cheaters. She'd look at me and go, oh, okay. I think. David thinks I might get a hand slap or at least get that look. And we all know that look.
Yeah, kind of like, how about if next time you just ask me to get them for you? That's my purse, after all. You're violating an international treaty by going in there.
As this texter says, phone, yes. Purse, yes, but my grandpa taught me the purse was a no-fly zone.
See? And I believe that, you know, her purse is protected by international treaty, but so's my wallet. And I take it a step further than I think most of you. Most of you, you know, you're, I don't know, nicer than I am. I don't want her going into my phone.
And then a couple of actual sports texts today, David. That one, it says someone just flat out saying it's pathetic that we have a playoff system that's going to allow teams with a losing record to make the playoffs. Someone, I think, upset with how you announced the World Cup final, and I don't think you were mocking. I thought you were talking how big it was. This World Cup final is the equivalent of 98 Jordan versus 2012 LeBron. This is one of the biggest games in the history of all sports. Don't downplay it. This is a historic final.
I'm not. How in the world could you take how I said that? I said it's the final. Literally, it's the final that before. I mean, maybe they would have said Argentina, Brazil, maybe. But if you really look at storylines, I think this is the storyline they would have wanted. And by the way, it all happens after Argentina gets beat in their first match by what? Saudi Arabia? I mean, remember, Messi, by the way, credits that first match loss with getting them this far. No, this is the final. This will salvage this World Cup in this godforsaken place, which never should have been there. All right. This is all that we'll talk about basically from this World Cup. Argentina, France. Either Messi finally caps one of the 5 greatest soccer careers of all time, probably one of the 3. Or Mbappe wins 2, and France does what hasn't been done since Pele in Brazil in 58 and 62. No, this is a BFD. There was nothing flippant, sarcastic, nothing. Maybe because I didn't lead this, starting 5 with it, you took offense. But no, this is big.
And then finally, a WTF Magic, a 50-point quarter. You guys need to keep this streak alive with your guaranteed Magic losses.
Absolutely. I'm waiting to become part of the Magic radio network if we keep this up. How many wins do we need in a row to get hired? Man, get a billboard or something. Miller and Moulton, pick another loss. Come see your Magic win tonight, 7 o'clock against Atlanta. Probably be good if we were in Orlando and they actually knew who the hell we were, right?
Efforting.
Yeah, that'd probably help. Yes, boy. Are we efforting? There's a lot of things we're efforting. That is for sure. So unofficially, what's the vote tally here?
You are definitely leading, and it's not close. A minimum of 70% that, we could put this up in a poll question. We do that once every 6-7 months.
Yeah.
But why start a trend?
Yeah, we pretty much, as you could tell in the last couple of weeks, we stopped doing the poll questions. They weren't that good consistently. We didn't consistently have one. So we figured, why don't we just end it? It's worked better this way. We actually bring it up on the show and you text us. It's glorious. We actually see that there's 23 people listening in 4 stations. It's great. See, I got 9 hours sleep, folks. This is what happens. It's what happens when one of the 2 of us gets a full night's sleep. Don't worry, it won't happen again for a very long time, I promise. There's a rule, really. Neither one of us is allowed to have more than 7. Otherwise, it completely changes our personality. So this is my one mulligan a year. I get to raise my hand. It's my on a diet. I cheated. I had 9 hours sleep last night. I cheated. I'm sorry. I won't do it again. Promise. Between 5 and 7 every night going forward.
As best we can, right? As best we can.
Right.
Did you catch Tua's comments
about
the weather?
Yes. Yeah. Come on. It snowed in Alabama.
It snowed in Alabama my first year. So it snows in Alabama, guys. People don't know that. I'm backing him up another T on this par 4.
He just went from the whites to the blues.
You're damn right he did.
One more comment like that, we'll put him 1 foot in the, put him on the tips.
Goodness gracious, it snowed.
Listen, we're just going to let you know something. Buffalo snow is a little different than Birmingham snow, just so you know.
Because it started out great. Could be snowing, could rain. I don't know. It's a mindset thing, really. And if I'm too focused and worried about, is it too cold? Can I grab a ball or not? Then I'm focused on the wrong things, and it'll be hard to play that way. Stop right there. That's a nice comment.
Yeah. Yeah, how
Then
can
you
you argue
finish it
with
up
that?
Then you finish it up with, I visited my brother who plays in Maryland. It snowed there. I mean, it snowed in Alabama my first. No, stop it.
Hey, man, I've seen snow. We had a dusting that one Tuesday preparing for a bowl game. Oh, well, in that case, let me take you in the points. You've seen snow. That's good.
I visited snow once. It was
Yeah.
special.
Yeah, I went to Maryland. I mean, that's north, right? Sure it is.
Crab cakes, football, and snow angels, apparently.
Right. Yeah, no problem. You're good. Yep. I'll just keep taking the points. You're ready for Saturday. Can't believe I second guessed you.
Can I ask you guys a question? Who is the greatest snow quarterback of all time?
A lot of people think it's Favre. I would have to argue Bradshaw, to be honest with you. I mean, Bradshaw was awesome in bad weather. Awesome. He could grip that ball, and he threw such a tight spiral. It did not matter what the Steelers played in. Bradshaw was tremendous in bad weather.
You know, I would have to throw Tarkington on the list because just of where he played and how many cold weather games that the Vikings played in pre-dome.
I was going to say, and his cold weather games started by mid-November.
He may have played in the most cold weather games.
But it was ironic, Felipe, that it was part of Favre's mystique that, you know, here was this kid from Mississippi who went to Southern Miss, who ends up being traded to Green Bay and ends up being this tremendous bad weather quarterback and embracing the conditions and all of that. And, you know, give Rodgers credit too. I mean, it's not like he grew up in it.
No, and Klecko on our Twitch chat room says Jim Kelly. I don't know how you can't mention him when you're talking about guys that were terrific cold weather quarterbacks.
But at least he grew up with it, though, to some degree, right? He grew up in PA. I mean, he went to Miami. But, I mean, he at least in his childhood experienced a touch of it. But, yes, he wanted no part of it. Remember, they drafted him, and he's like, no, I'm playing in the USFL. Going to Houston. We're playing in the Dome. No interest in. Remember that famous quote? He was interviewed, and he said, you know, what league would I rather be in? Look at it. It's bright sunshine, and we're throwing it all over the lot. I get to play indoors. Why do I want to play outdoors in Buffalo? Now he lives there, and he's a cultural icon.
Right. And that's just getting to four of them.
Right.
Think what it would have been if you had actually won one of them.
Norwood makes that kick. Things are a lot different. Well, and believe me, the current Bills wish that Norwood had made that kick too, because they're feeling the weight of all this. They got to win one going all the way back to Jack Kemp. It's like, man, 60 years is a long time. Wish somebody could have won one of these. A 30-year drought would have been enough to deal with.
Miller and Moulton. Matt Cannata coming up in about 25 minutes time. Pat Kirwan, top of the 8 o'clock hour. Dr. Roto in a little more than an hour from now to do fantasy. And Tom Herman, the FAU coach, at 9 o'clock in the bonus hour. All ahead on Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs, presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs, powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
The only reason I asked is because the guy in 20 minutes, oftentimes when he retweets it, that's like a confirmation. It's like, okay, he's coming.
Yeah, I know.
Because he's so busy that
I forgot my money clip this morning. I had to circle back and get it. So I was about 10 minutes later than usual because I've got to run right from here to a doctor's appointment. So I needed money to pay for said doctor's appointment.
So I had an MRI yesterday. I asked him how much is it going to cost. They put it, took my insurance card to and they said, well, you got about $1,200 left on your deductible. And I go, let me guess. This is going to cost me $1,200. They said, yes, it is.
Good to get that deductible in on December 15th.
Right. Yep. Yeah, you could argue Brady. You could. Played a lot of playoff games about bad weather quarterbacks. But it is interesting. Favre from Mississippi, Bradshaw from Louisiana.
Here's the thing. If Tua is going to be the franchise quarterback, he's going to probably have 2 of those games a year. Maybe 3 of those games a year.
No doubt. No doubt. Going to have to beat those teams on the road at some point, and half the time you get them in bad weather.
It is funny how the Dolphins are the only team in the division who don't have to worry about that.
Every now and then there's talk amongst NFL circles about should we realign. Would be fascinating if they did more of a geographical realignment.
It would be, but we've had this conversation before, and you just told me that they can't.
Well, there's not a majority that wants it. Never mind the fact in the NFL you need 3/4 majority to get something done. But there are like 6 to 10 teams that wouldn't mind it.
I mean, finally things would make sense, you know.
I'll say this: if the Cowboys wanted it,
it would be done tomorrow.
It would happen.
Huh. All right, here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's 21 minutes past the hour on this Thursday morning. Hope your week's going well. You can kind of see the finish line from here, right? Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Matt Cannata scheduled to join us in a little more than 15 minutes' time. Pat Kirwan at the top of the hour, a day earlier than usual. Dr. Roto in about an hour and 15 minutes. Hold off on your questions till the 8 o'clock hour. It's easier for us to kind of rein them all in if they come in like a 20, 30-minute window. So, but start thinking about it. And then, once you hear Pat Kirwan, you can start firing away, whether it be on the text line, FSN Radio, keyword FSN Radio to 21,000, 21000. Or if you're watching us on the Miller Moulton Twitch channel, you can just fire away in our Twitch chat room.
Simple enough.
Getting a lot of response on the text line today because we threw out something that didn't have anything to do with sports.
Exactly.
Right. And we're a hardcore sports show. That's all we talk about. We don't do guy talk. We don't do politics. We don't do hot takes. And so because of it, you guys sit on your keister. Then we throw out there, I'm going to reach into my wife's purse and grab something. And one of us goes, whoa, hold on a second. You can't do that. That's like invading Grenada.
And that's what this texter says. Stay out of the purse unless instructed to do so. And at that point, I just give her the purse.
Thank you. That's exactly what I do. I reach over, I grab the purse, I walk over, and I hand it to her. I go, nope, I'm not even sticking my hand in this because goodness knows what's in here.
Oh, there could be a trap in there.
It's probably a sharp instrument. All right. All I know is, Mark, is your wife still getting bigger and bigger purses and then complaining about 6 months in, I just don't have enough room?
Not necessarily bigger. She's just in the phase of her life where she wants more of them. Because I do know the one thing that she wants for Christmas is another purse.
Oh, good.
Yeah.
That's great.
Because the 47 that we have now are not enough. And for whatever reason, my wife could be Imelda Marcos and have 10,000 different pair of shoes, and it wouldn't bother me one bit. But you start crossing the barrier of 10 to 12 purses, and I'm like, what the hell for?
I think to go with the shoes.
I know. That's what they tell us.
So that's kind of our informal poll question today. All right. Mark says that A, you can reach into the purse, and that also B, you can grab their phone and just, do their code and go looking for something. And I'm like, absolutely not. And don't touch my wallet either.
Or your phone. I mean, you did say on the flip side, your wife cannot touch your phone or your wallet. Your wife, however, does know the code to your phone and can go into it whenever she wants. You don't know the code to hers.
Correct. I will say, though, there have been times when she goes over to my phone and I just say, give it to me. So then we have that little stare down and a little bit of power struggle. And I do say to her, do I hand you your purse? I don't go in your purse. Give me the phone. All right. Thank you. Just, respect my territory. I don't have a lot of it, All right. Just respect my space. I got a wallet and a phone. All right.
And the wallet is 3 times the size of the phone.
It is funny. The megabytes in the wallet are far more than the megabytes in the phone.
So 21,000 is the text number, 21000. What are you allowed to do? And look, I get it that you can't go into the purse. I understand it. I'm just telling you that if I go into my wife's purse, she's not going to flip out. I'm convinced of that.
Well, congratulations. Your relationship's in a much better place than mine. That's for sure. Very quickly, before we go to the Clutch Vodka play of the day, and I have a feeling I know what it is, Mark. We've not
me
talked
too.
about it. I have a feeling. And you know what? If it's what we think it is, he's okay with it. He's right on, in fact.
Absolutely.
So, but before we get to that, I just want to set the stage tonight. Thursday night football, San Francisco at Seattle. Niners win. They win the West. Who'd have thought that, by the way? Somebody would win that division with 3 weeks still to go. A. B. Big game. San Francisco will win. Forget the whole division thing. They're going to win that anyway. But then they remain on the Vikings' heels for the 2 seed. They're a game back in the loss column to Minnesota, but they have the better conference record. Right now, these 2 teams finish tied. San Francisco is going to be the 2. And remember, when you got Brock Purdy as your quarterback, you want to play as many home games as possible. I know that defense and running game and all that travel, but come on now. It is Brock Purdy after all. So you got that going for you, plus better first-round matchup in theory, 2-7 versus 3-6. But as for Seattle, they're outside the playoffs right now. They're half a game behind both Washington and the Giants, who are both 7-5-1, while they're 7-6. But also, besides Washington and the Giants, Detroit is very interested in this game. Because the Lions lost to the Seahawks. They got to get ahead of Seattle if they're going to have any chance of tracking down a playoff spot here.
They're hoping that Seattle can finish the season with just 1 more win. 2 more wins means the Lions have to win out. That means winning road games, and that is a tall task as for a team who's not done these things before.
But we went through Seattle's schedule. San Francisco at home tonight. Then what? They got the Chiefs.
Then they got the Chiefs.
The Jets, who, fighting for a playoff spot. That's a toss-up game. I mean, I think the Giants are only winning 1 more game against the Colts, and they're going to go 8-1. Well, it's really possible that Seattle ends up losing 4 of their last 5 and finishing 8-8 or 8-9. Yeah, I mean, that's doable. That's not crazy.
Not at all.
I mean, losing to the Niners and the Chiefs and the Jets? Hell, they just lost at home to Carolina. They do get Kenneth Walker back, though. Needs to be pointed out. They were without their top 2 running backs Sunday. They get Kenneth Walker back tonight.
Yeah, it's not helping them stop the run because they can't do that at all right now. All right, time now for our Clutch Vodka play of the day. Felipe, don't let us down.
A career-high 9 3-pointers and some hero ball at the end. You guys guessed it. Tyler Hero. Clutch.
18 on the shot clock. About a second and a half separate game clock and shot clock. Hero still with it. At the logo with the dribble. Wiggins in front. 6 on the shot clock. Tyler with the drive. The pull-up. He knocked it down. He's got 35. And the Heat have the lead 110-108 with 4.9 remaining.
Big win for the Heat. Big night for Hero. And that's our Clutch Vodka play of the day. That's Clutch with a K. Check them out at Total Wine or anywhere you shop for your spirits. Tag all your drinks with the hashtag Clutch Spirits and visit them online at clutchspirits.com.
The Heat tied for first despite being below 500. We're referring to the Heat's division as the NFC South.
God, that's accurate.
Now, I will say 30 games into last year, the Celtics were right around 500 too. I mean, this is a long season. Hell, these guys are still deciding which games they want to play and don't want to play. I mean, we haven't gotten – I mean, what's it, All-Star breaks around the Super Bowl in Vegas, basically? I mean, that's when they decide whether or not they're going to get serious.
It is really you're absolutely right. They've made a long season longer with the load management and not knowing who's going to play. Felipe, you're the diehard NBA guy. Are you worried about the Heat at all right now?
No. The Heat aren't worried about seeding. They're just worried about making the playoffs and then facing whoever they face.
Very quickly, though, Felipe, like 10 seconds. The mailing it in at this part of the season, have you even noticed it? Diehard NBA guy, have you like watching the product going, wow, they're not into this at all?
I will say I have been disappointed with a lot of the marquee matchups in this NBA season, but I still think that the talent I think the superstars are playing at an extremely high level, which is good
when they play.
When they play.
And that would be clutch if they played more,
With K?
Exactly. Miller and Moulton. Matt Cannata coming up in a little about 8 minutes time. Pat Kirwan in 30 or so minutes. Dr. Roto, a little more than an hour from now to take your fantasy football questions. We will talk some Dolphins with Matt Cannata. That's next on Miller and Moulton.
Golfers, are you bored of the same old driving range warm-up routine that's not getting you the results that you want on the course? Power up your golf swing by adding resistance bands to your range sessions with the Orange Whip Golf's Power Strap Kit. Featuring band attachments to your feet and hips, Power Strap resistance training will boost clubhead speed, increase power, improve flexibility, all with just a few swings. Buy a Power Strap Kit today. Go to orangewhipgolf.com and use code Miller10 to receive an additional 10% off the already great price of $119.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Bless you.
Thank you.
By the way, I'm picking the Seahawks tonight.
I can't pick against Purdy.
I understand he got a purty mouth. But he ain't even 100%.
I know. Actually, Pat doesn't even think he's going.
So he's officially listed as questionable.
He looked at Childress last night and he goes, Brad, you've done a lot of things. You ain't won a division with 4 different guys playing quarterback in 1 year. He said, that's what they're going to do in San Francisco. I'd get a kick out of how much Childress likes the hockey.
Yeah. Yeah.
Cheering after goals and stuff. I mean, you know me, I don't even. I clap for the military guys. The only time I clap during the whole game is when they announce the suite with the military people in there, and I stand and applaud for them. I don't clap during a hockey game. I just don't. Ooh, I'll say great play, great goal, whatever the case may be, but I don't like, ooh, that was a good one.
I know those two act like they've spent their whole life in the wrong sport. That's how much they love it.
And Childress's grandkids playing goalie, like plays travel goalie in Minnesota. He's going back up for a tournament. Pat's going to Austria this summer with his grandson.
Right. Well, KW, whoever played the final 8 minutes of the Bucks game is the guy backing up Purdy, because Purdy got pulled with 8 minutes to go. He's got an oblique injury.
Josh Johnson's
There you go.
Josh Johnson. I said Jack.
Who's been on like 14 teams. Something amazing like
when
that.
Pat said flat out when he talked to Pete, Pete's preparing for Johnson.
Wow.
I did give Pat a hard time because he's all did. I says, Pat, because someone was talking about going to a Lightning game or something. I said, Pat, you wouldn't go to an Everblades game if it was more than 10 minutes from your house.
That does help the fan involvement.
There's no doubt. I mean, he can finish his, like he was, he finished the show and left. I met him at Ford's. We all drove in together, so no one had to pay for parking. I have not. No, Pat's got a parking pass, so we all hopped in his vehicle and drove in. But I'll tell you what, there are a lot of people that walk over from Miramar now. You can certainly see that.
No, the price, the cost for parking is a joke.
It's ridiculous. You can park in the back of Miramar Outlets and just walk the grass. Who the hell would pay for parking? Old people, I guess. Whatever.
I'll pay for it on Saturday. I can guarantee you that. I got my wife and daughter. I'm not walking across 2 parking lots to go see the game. I'll hand them $15 and I'll park.
Hey, were there a lot of people at that game last night?
2,500.
Oh, Saturday's the teddy bear, right?
Mm-hmm.
A bunch of my friends were at that
Now,
game.
do you bring 3 of them? Do you each have one, or do you just bring one?
What, teddy bears?
No.
I don't know.
Hey, should I call Matt?
It's a school. No.
Okay.
He's here. He is.
Hey, Matt.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good. How you doing?
We're coming on right. We're coming on right now, guys.
Okay.
You're listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network.
22 minutes before the hour. Pat Kirwan at the top of the hour. Dr. Roto 1 hour from now to get you ready for your fantasy football playoffs. Matt Cannata is kind enough to join us once again at this hour, and I have to admit, I am shocked. All right. A, we're 3/4 of the way through the NFL season. B, he's starting up an entirely new entity in collegefootballnetwork.com in a month. Okay. Are you doing any Christmas shopping at all, or have you totally just turned that over to someone else and said, just let me know what it costs?
Listen, I joke to people, but it's actually true. I am just as surprised as the kids are on Christmas morning when they open their presents. I have no idea what my wife got them. No idea. And so I sit there and I'm in amazement as much as they are when they open their gifts.
That's fantastic, by the way. That's absolutely fantastic. Hey, how much amazement when you were in, and I know the Dolphins scheme is what it is, but when you heard McDaniel talk about it was a lack of execution, they seemed in the last 2 games. I don't know about. I mean, they've been outplayed. I don't know if it's scheme, but they're not putting Hill in motion the way they were. What do you think's wrong with Miami right now?
Yeah, it's a great question. I think, first of all, anyone who watched the Chargers, and I might get in trouble for saying this, anyone who watched the Chargers-Dolphins game, if you say that Tua was the better QB, you're out of your mind, right? It was night and day the differences between the two and just how one can carry his team and one needs things to go right for things to work out the right way. I said last week on the show that I didn't think another team could replicate what the 49ers did. I was somewhat right, but also wrong. The Chargers replicated it, but they did it in a different way. Whereas the 49ers used their linebackers and pass rush to neutralize the Dolphins' passing attack, the Chargers used their secondary to neutralize it. And that's bad news for the Dolphins because now there's blueprints on how to stop them with your front seven. And now there's a blueprint with how to stop them with your secondary and how the Dolphins reacted. And I don't really buy that McDaniel's saying it's not the scheme. It's obviously the scheme. If you saw the breakdown Dan Orlovsky from ESPN did the other day on ESPN, they're running the same routes, the same patterns, and these teams are picking up on how to reroute the receivers and rub the receivers to ensure that the timing is not working out. And so these teams have taken away the middle of the field, forcing Tua to go deep. But these receivers who are going deep on the deep crosses aren't getting off of their coverage to get open for Tua to throw them open. And so there's just a lot of things right now going wrong for the Dolphins. And what's worse is they're going up to Buffalo in what's expected to be a snow game in cold temperature. And so even if they have made adjustments to it, you're probably not going to see that come into play until they're back at home on Christmas against the Packers.
He's Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. You can follow Matt on Twitter, Cannata, 2 N's, 1 T, Cannata PFN, Cannata PFN. Well, Matt, the obvious from a football novice like myself, though, is, well, start, playing a little chuck and duck football here. Start throwing it to the running backs. Maybe just, the short curl to a tight end. Not everything has to be 10 plus yards downfield. And not only that, maybe run the ball a little bit. I mean, maybe they have to go small to get back to going big.
A lot of people gave the Patriots and Tom Brady, they argued with the way they were playing football because there was a lot of dink and dunk, right? When he was with the Patriots. But what that did was forced coverage to play up more. And then you were able to hit that deep shot every once in a while. So while it was methodical, while it was, they were long drives and obviously more opportunities for mistakes, the Patriots killed you by being very patient, being very disciplined, and just driving down the field in 5 to 8 yard chunks. And it would just drive defenses crazy. I totally agree with you. The Dolphins have a good running back core, or at least good enough to be able to throw these outside of the backfield and to get the ball in space and to try to make them do something. That's ultimately going to force everyone to play down. Then that's when you throw Tyreek or Waddle up there on a go route and you have one-on-one coverage or at least a coverage that's more beneficial to completing the play. I totally agree with that.
I'm still waiting for whether it's the out of the shotgun, the 1 yard pass to Hill directly in front or the jet sweep or some of those plays as well, because when they've taken the last 2 weeks, what I can't understand, Matt, is that one of the things they were able to do to get Hill open was to put him in motion. And it seems like they have taken the motion out of Hill's game. And that makes him hittable at the line of scrimmage. And that changes everything.
Yeah. They're still putting him in motion a little bit, but they're doing it in the ways that is very predictable, right? And so what you see is you have a condensed slot on one side, and you bring a motion from the other receiver. You're pulling him behind that receiver. You're sending them both up the field, and you're having one of them cross and the other one go deep, right? And the Chargers took that away very nicely, and the 49ers took that away very nicely as well. And so they're doing motion, but they're not doing it in the way that's throwing off defenses. They're doing it in the way that's actually telling the defenses what they're going to do next. And so the mismatches, the mixing and match, something's happened. It's very bizarre. Trying to put your finger on it, you could say, hey, they were tight because of the 49ers playoff atmosphere, this and that, but they actually played worse against the Chargers. And so I'm not sure what's going on. I'm not sure if Tua is dealing with an injury that they're not letting on about. I'm not sure if people are just figuring how to stop Tua and Mike McDaniel. But it's just very interesting, and it's more interesting that Mike McDaniel says it's not the scheme and it's just the execution, because I don't even see how you can execute the way the Chargers and the 49ers are playing them.
Well, I mean, we all know there are times when coaches just have to look us in the face and lie. Okay. And this is probably just one of those times for Mike McDaniel. Matt, do you think, though, that the last 2 weeks have changed the Dolphins' thinking about Tua? And I don't mean to the tune that they're not going to pick up his 5th-year option, but I'm just talking about the difference between a guy, we got a franchise quarterback versus we have a starting quarterback. Like, Detroit is a starting quarterback. Green Bay is a franchise quarterback. Do you think the last 2 weeks maybe changed the Dolphins' thinking?
I don't think it's changed it totally. I would say it's probably made them start to wonder a little bit and kind of say, okay, let's see how these next few weeks play out, right? If he goes up to Buffalo and bombs, if he plays decent against Green Bay, but then goes up to New England and New York, on MetLife, New Jersey, and bombs, I'm not sure they get rid of him after this year, but I'm pretty sure they draft a QB or at least try to sign one in free agency to give them some insurance to say, okay, we're going to give you some competition. And, really the franchise QBs are defined not by the first 2 months of the season, not by the first 3 months of the season, but what do you do when December hits, right? How are you going to lead your team and put your team on the back when it's the cold weather, when it's the, really high pressure games and high pressure situations, and all the pressures on you as a QB and as a team and as a head coach. And if Tua cannot do that, let's say he goes 0-4 in December, that's going to raise a lot of red flags. And you probably give him one more year to prove himself and see what happens next year. But just certainly, I believe the Dolphins would put some plans in motion. Now, the only thing is, Lamar Jackson is probably going to be a free agent if the Ravens don't franchise tag him, which they'd be foolish not to. But let's say he does hit the market, then what happens? That will be very interesting to play out.
That will be fascinating to play out because I don't know how they wouldn't franchise him. But if that does happen, and we've, with the injury, and you never know how this thing will work out. One guy that's appearing to be a franchise quarterback is Trevor Lawrence. He had a clunker against Detroit, but looked really good against Tennessee. He's played pretty good football here over the last month. You're talking about guys starting to find it in December. When you look at Jacksonville and the Cowboys, do you think Trevor, that's a really good defense. This will be a hell of a test if somehow they can pull this off at home.
Yeah, the Jaguars, they have been a fascinating story, right? Because they've gone, we all saw the debacle last year with Urban Meyer, and they started off a little bit hot this year and strong, and then they kind of had that lull, and then after the bye, they came back, and Trevor Lawrence has been a big part of it. He's still subject to kind of those things where he's trying to play hero ball, which is probably normal and typical for a young QB, but he's anticipating the defenses really well. He's reading the defenses really well, and he's adjusting as the ball is being snapped to him what he needs to do. And so, he definitely has all the tools, as we all know, to succeed. And under Urban Meyer, it was hard to see those because everything was just a mess from the locker room to the field. And now with Doug Peterson at the helm and having a coach who's an adult, first of all, and who can actually scheme things the right way, we're starting to see just what that is. And really, it's about that anticipation. It's about him being able to read the rush and adjust on the fly to that. And just the mental aspect of the game, which we all know is a huge part of it. You pair that with his consistent play and high level accuracy and a strong arm, and that's going to result in good QB play. And even with a below average receiving core, he's ranking 11th in expected points added per play and 12th in first down rate, right? His turnovers are still a little bit high. He needs to work on that. But again, typical, not abnormal for a young QB who has a strong arm, who likes to gunsling. Remember, Josh Allen had a lot of interception issues as well early on. But Trevor Lawrence is on the path to becoming what we all thought he would be out of college.
Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. You can follow the site on Twitter at PFN365. You can follow Matt on Twitter at Cannata PFN, Cannata 2 N's 1 T PFN. collegefootballnetwork.com, scheduled to debut early 2023. You can follow that at CFN 365. Troy Aikman on Monday Night Football expressed concern with the quality of the product. Do you have those same concerns, or does it just not matter?
I think it's just the luck of the draw, right? I think when you try to put together a schedule in April and so many things happen, and even if roster moves don't happen and players don't get injured, teams change from year to year, right? We talked about the Bengals early on. Now they're on a hot streak, but we talked about them struggling, right? And so in April, you might put a Bengals-Rams matchup in week 4 or week 5. You see the Rams struggling. They don't have much of a different cast. Yeah, they lost Von Miller. Stafford got injured, but coming to this season, you thought that would not be the case. And so when you're scheduling all those in April, that's really, really hard to say, okay, this is what it's going to look like. So I think it's just the luck of the draw. I think we're still seeing some really good games on Sundays. I'm not concerned about the product that it's deteriorating. I think they're just in bad spots, whether it's Thursday Night Football, Monday Night Football, even some of the Sunday Night Football games. It's just hard. It's just hard to schedule.
But on the whole, you're okay with the product of where the NFL is. I mean, because, the tackling is not as good. The blocking is not as good. I mean, there are with practice limitations, there are limitations of what you can work on, but you think the product is still at a high quality.
Yeah, I think so. I think, those kind of ebb and flow with how the game has evolved. And I think there's still actually a lot of things to be cleaned up with the penalties and the refereeing, right? We saw Jalen Phillips be called for totally uncalled for roughing the passer penalty that probably changed the flow of the game. But overall, there's a lot more parity, but that's what the NFL wants, right? And I think the NFL is just fine, and the ratings show it as well.
And by the way, what are you hearing? There's, rumors after that call, once again, a high-profile roughing the passer call that was blown, in which there's talk that the NFL may try to come up with something between now and the playoffs. I mean, what? Like all of a sudden we can now challenge roughing the passer?
Yeah, Troy Vincent was talking about that at the owners' meetings yesterday, and it was surprising to see that they were trying to get something in before the playoffs start. But I think what we've also seen is some of these calls are changing the outcomes of the game, right? Not saying the Dolphins would have won, and then there's other calls, a lot of other calls that have happened in games this season that have really just, turned the tide and changed the outcome. And I don't think the NFL can afford to, or at least a PR hit. I mean, they can afford to; they'll survive. But imagine a call on the Super Bowl or a call on the AFC or NFC Championship game that's a tight game, and there's a roughing the passer call that shouldn't have been called, and that changes the outcome.
So
right?
they're trying to avoid the Saints-Rams pass interference call is what they're trying to maybe jump in the way of.
Exactly. It's so judgmental, and in real time, it's hard to say for sure what it is and what it isn't.
4 weeks left. Who's the best team in the league right now, Matt?
The Eagles. The Eagles are definitely the best team in the league. Whether or not they can translate that to the playoffs remains to be seen. And why I say that is because history has not been kind to regular season champions, right? You can go back in history and look at who the best team in the NFL was during the season, and that doesn't usually translate to the Super Bowl champion. And so you have to look at that, but you also have to look at the hottest team. And let me go there, and that's the Bengals. And I'll always remember on the show early in the season that I thought they would be the team that would regress the most. And for a few weeks, I was right. And then they turned it around. What's interesting about them is they don't care how they win. They just want to win. Joe Burrow does not care about his stats. Jamar Chase does not care about his stats. Joe Mixon does not care about his stats. They just want to win. And the Bengals are the hottest team, I think, in the NFL at this time.
And remember, if the Bengals win out, that will include a home win against Buffalo, which means all they need to be the 1 seed is for one Chiefs loss. Even though right now they're in second place in their division, the Bengals are looking at the schedule going, we might be able to be the 1, even though now we're the 5. He's Matt Cannata, Pro Football Network, profootballnetwork.com. Follow the site, PFN365. Follow Matt on Twitter at Cannata, 2 N's, 1 T, PFN. Matt, we know how swamped you are. We really appreciate this time. All the best. Hopefully we'll talk to you or a staff member next week.
All right, you got it, guys. Take care.
Matt Cannata, very gracious to fit us into his schedule, running Pro Football Network and forming collegefootballnetwork.com all at the same time. And yet he does our show every Thursday.
Good information on the site, good fantasy information on the site, and we know there'll be good college information on the new site as he's kicking that off as well. So lots to dive into at PFN 365, profootballnetwork.com, Matt Cannata. Pat Kirwan.
Yeah, right.
Him.
That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
He's coming up next. Dr. Roto also in the 8 o'clock hour. Tom Herman, the FAU coach, at 9 o'clock in the bonus hour. Miller and Moulton right here on the Florida Sports Network.
What he said.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs, presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs, powered by Clutch Vodka.
Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts, flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Good morning, Pat.
Good morning, Mark. Good to see you.
Thanks again for last night. That was fun.
Oh, good. I'm glad you were there. Always fun times.
A pretty good game last night, too.
Yeah.
Good goals.
That was good. Brad's home a lot alone, and all he wanted to do was talk all night.
He was great. He gave me a great line about Michigan, the line about Michigan State, the right to play.
Yeah.
When they were recruiting somebody when he was at Wisconsin, Pat Shermer told him, well, we give them the right to play at Michigan State. That means that they have the right to play.
I know you went there, but I'll just tell you what my dad said to me leaving high school. He said, you can go to any college that doesn't end in state.
You know, my problem was that I was a diehard Michigan State fan my whole life because of both grandparents. And it was really the only school I applied to. I would have been really close to getting into the University of Michigan. I had the test scores, the test scores were close. And I was so fearful that if I would have applied and gotten in, it's such a good school, I would have had to have gone. So I didn't apply.
Well, there it is. We don't want to go to the ones we know we have to really work. But, you know, Jimmy Miller, he got offered at Stanford and Michigan. And he accepted his Michigan State scholarship while on a visit at Michigan. He stepped out in the hallway and said, they're pressuring me to come to Michigan. I'm going to state. I'm just telling you now so I can leave here.
All you got to do is walk around that campus back then, too, and look at the co-eds versus one versus the other. A little prettier at Michigan State. That's all I'm saying.
Well, that's true. Very nice. Good morning, David.
Good morning, Pat.
And you are where today? Are you in Jacksonville today?
Yeah.
Okay.
And
And what's your schedule?
I'm here till Sunday because I only have one college game left. So
I was going to say your college season's over. Just about.
Yep. So
You do bowl games?
Only one. CBS only has the Sun Bowl.
Oh God, El Paso.
Joe and Troy aren't doing a bowl game?
That funny.
But for sure they do the ReliaQuest Bowl.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Why does CBS hang on to the Sun Bowl? Why?
Because otherwise they'd have no bowl games, and I think they just do it. Plus, usually it's New Year's Eve, and they do it to give, I think, their affiliates a break. They just kind of run it and say, here you go. But also, I think, Pat, the rights fee is like, I don't know, $50,000. I mean, it's something, it's very cheap.
Yeah.
We lost the Gator Bowl over 10 grand. And we could, and CBS could have had the Cotton Bowl like 10 years ago, and they wouldn't agree to put the game in prime time. Okay. They were like, no, we won't put the game in prime time. And so that's how Fox got it.
CBS.
So,
and CBS deal, it's going away. What are they losing that coming up here?
One more year. They have one more year of the SEC next year.
5 seconds.
And what's interesting is the first year of the Big Ten.
Here we go.
Got it. All right.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now, here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Show is flying by on this Thursday edition. Miller and Moulton, Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. Talking football, talking whether or not you can go in your wife's purse and still keep your hand. All right, whether she's allowed to go into your wallet, are you allowed to go into each other's phones? I mean, very serious issues of the day. Oh, yeah, Thursday Night Football tonight, Niners and Seahawks. And I guess that's why Pat Kirwan's joining us. You know, NFL Radio, Moving the Chains, CBS's NFL Today show. Pat joins us courtesy of Pinchers. Tampa to Key West, a dozen locations in between. Pinchers, because you can't fake fresh. How are you, Pat?
I'm doing well. And you mentioned Thursday night. I'll carry it to Saturday. By the time we get to Sunday's games, I will have seen 3 of the best 7 games of the weekend. So I think they're serving up some nice ones. Tonight's pretty good. And then Saturday, 2 of the 3, I think, are really good. So good for all of us who want to sit around. And, you know, if you don't have to do college football, then you get a chance to watch yourself, my friend.
And a good Saturday for David to have no college football. As you mentioned, some pretty good games with the Vikings, Ravens, and then the Dolphins, Bills taking on one another to finish off the Saturday night. But let's talk about tonight's game, Pat, the Niners and Seahawks. First off, Brock Purdy, what are you hearing? Is he going to be playing tonight?
It sounds like he is going to play. I mean, I'm no doctor, and these short weeks are brutal. We've talked about this 1,000 times. At Thursday Night Football this time of year, they should have canceled them by now. But there they go. And things were so rough for San Francisco, they gave him Tuesday to sleep in and not practice. They thought that was more valuable, which tells you recovery rates are very hard this time of year. But I think Purdy will go, and he's a very interesting kid to watch. And I guess the story that's going to end up being the story at the end of the year is, will there be an open competition next year for him to win the job in San Francisco? Right now, the fans that I get, and I get a lot of them, want him to be the quarterback, which that kind of sentiment happens all the time. Problem for Seattle, can't stop the run. We saw that last week. Now they're going to be up against a team that loves to run the ball. Problem for San Francisco, Pete Carroll has their number. You know that Tyler Lockett is 11-3? 11-3 against San Francisco. So there's a lot of guys on the Seattle team that think they can win tonight, which should make the game fun.
It is funny, Mark. You know, we've talked about in the division teams that owe teams, you know, the Niners own the Rams, the Seahawks own the Niners. It's just funny how that has worked here in the last half dozen years. Pat mentioned Thursday Night Football. It's this week and 2 more Thursdays. We have 4 weeks left in the NFL. We have 3 more weeks of Thursday Night Football, including tonight. Pat, can I just go big picture on the Niners for a second? Having built the team the way they've built it, forget whether or not Trey Lance is good, you know, great, what have you. Did they make a mistake giving up 3 first-round picks for any would-be quarterback prospect? Because that's not how they built their team. When you make a move like that, you're saying we can't win a Super Bowl without this guy. And now we're looking at them going, hell, they might be able to get to one with Brock Purdy.
I hear what you're asking loud and clear. And the system, look, if they have to play Josh Johnson, there's still going to be a hard out. Even Pete Carroll said that to me. So your point is the quarterback's not the center of attention, at least in the regular season. But to win the Super Bowl, sooner or later, your quarterback has to be extraordinary in a 2-minute mode or whatever. So the system is great to get you here, just like Tennessee. They have a nice system that gets you wins. Can you go far with it? Can Baltimore go far with their system? So I hear you, but I think you got to be drafting for the ultimate try at a Super Bowl. And that's where I think San Francisco can't be playing mediocrity at quarterback.
Well, Pat, speaking of the quarterback position, what are the numbers again? You started. How many different starters have we had this year? And
Yeah, 76 quarterbacks have thrown a pass in games, and I think that's at 77 now. 55 quarterbacks have started games, and only 14 quarterbacks have played all 13 games so far. So less than half the league has had their starter for the full complement of games, which tells you why the number 2 quarterback in this league, if you're in the insurance business and they were insuring that, there'd be a high premium on the backup because it's proven that you're going to play the guy.
Pat, what in the world are the Arizona Cardinals going to do? Steve Keim takes a medical leave of absence. We hope everything's okay. Number one. Number two, clearly what they're doing right now is not working. They're 8-16 in their last 24 games, and yet the coach, quarterback, and GM all have 5 or more years left on their contract. And they've got an aging roster in a lot of positions. And now their quarterback is likely not even going to be ready for the first third of next year, if not longer. I mean, if you were in that office as an assistant GM, would you be saying, guys, I got to be honest, I think we should tear it down?
Well, they're so strapped down with contracts. The head coach, the general manager, the quarterback. The quarterback's going to be their starting quarterback for multiple years before they can get out from under that deal. So they're going to have those kind of restraints on them. And I know Steve very well. I hope he's fine and I hope that he's able to recover. In regards to the quarterback, Dr. Chow said to me he didn't think he'd be ready before Thanksgiving next year. And you look at the way that kid plays and what he asks his legs to do, and his stick his foot in the ground and cut, and you got to start thinking you're not going to see him for at least half.
Pat Kirwan with us, NFL Radio, Moving the Chain, CBS Sports, the NFL Today Show. Pat, is there someone that you need to see more out of right now? Is there a team that you think is good, but there still has work to be done? I look at Dallas, and I still don't trust them. Is there a team that's at the top that you don't trust?
Yeah, a couple teams. I don't trust Tennessee right now. I don't think they can go very far the way they're going. Now they're going to get Danico Autry back. You look at their record and their performance since Danico Autry went out. He's supposed to come back this week. So there's one team I don't trust. I don't trust Miami. We've talked about them every week. I got to see more from them. So Saturday night will tell me a lot. Can they go in there and go toe-to-toe, punch it out with those guys? Because they still have to go to New England, and they're still going to have to play as a wild card, which means they're going to end up going back to Buffalo or go to Kansas City or go to Baltimore again. So those two I don't trust. Over on the other side, I don't feel good about Tampa Bay and who they really are, and I don't feel good about Seattle. If Seattle doesn't win tonight, you stick a fork in them.
He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chains, 3 to 7 weekdays, 2 to 5 on Saturdays. CBS's NFL Today Show. Pat joining us once again, courtesy of Pinchers. Do the Eagles have a weakness that you think you could take advantage of? Because let's face it, in the playoffs, they're going to face better teams than what they're facing in the regular season. But where do you attack them, Pat?
Well, I think they're as complete as a team could be today. Now, one injury to their quarterback or someone else, and we might have a different discussion. But as of today, and I said this the other day, they have everything going for themselves. They have depth, which is really important. They can rush the passer. They have waves of inside rushes against a run attack. They have good corners. They have really good strike receivers that can go deep. And their quarterback is a better thrower than everyone thought. and Miles Sanders is going to rush for 1,300 yards behind a really good line. So they are complete.
You said you have questions about the Dolphins. They don't have to win to answer those questions this week, do they? They just have to go toe to toe with Buffalo. I mean, because you can't. At some point, they're going to have to win some of these road games, but they don't have to win this to answer the right questions, do they?
To me, they do. I mean, it's not going to change their status as the wild card, but I already believe they're a wild card, and that means they're traveling. And if you look at the teams north of them that are in the playoffs, Buffalo, Kansas City, Baltimore, you're going outside. You're going outside in cold stuff. So they have to prove it to me this weekend.
What about the Ravens?
Well, the Ravens are going to play with their backup quarterback the rest of the year. I love those guys is their defense. They fortified it. They are in good shape right now. If you're a run team, you're going to have a hard time against these guys. And that will be surfaced this weekend when they go to Cleveland, when they have Cleveland come to town, because Cleveland, only thing they can do is run the ball at this point. And this team, Baltimore, should stop them. And anyone that's a run team, they'll be fine matchup for them. Against the passing teams, I'm not so sure.
Well, but very quickly, I mean, do the Ravens now have to rethink this? They've invested 3+ years of drafting and scheming into Lamar. This is the offense. This is what we're going to do. Are they going to have to diversify here going forward, because what they're doing seems to have a plateau?
Well, everyone's had a plateau in this league because we don't have any New England Patriot dominant winners. So do I think they're going to – look, the kid Lamar has painted himself into a corner. They're going to have to franchise tag him now. The money he turned down, which reportedly was a lot, it just tells you the signability issue is a problem. So if you really start thinking franchise tag, you should also start thinking he's not going to be here very long, because most franchise tag players end in divorce. They don't end in long-term contracts.
Is this Lamar's fault because he doesn't have an agent?
I think the agent is a real issue, but not having an agent, I think Lamar has been in this mindset the whole time, and he's pretty strong-minded. So if he had an agent, he'd be dictating to the agent what to say. No different than when Kirk Cousins, and I knew his agent, and I still know him very well, was told by Kirk Cousins what he wanted to do. So I think Lamar with an agent you'd be able to talk directly to the agent rather than telling Lamar, we don't know if you're worth the kind of money you want. You're going to have to say very cautiously to him what you would not have to be cautious about with an agent.
Boy, think about if they decide that basically we can't do a long-term deal with Lamar and we're going to go year to year for a couple of years and move on. That could get messy. They're going to have to draft somebody, while he's still under the franchise tag. Everybody's going to know the guy they drafted is the future. I mean, Pat, if they don't sign him, you got 30 seconds before we break. This is going to get messy.
Well, no, it's going to put me, the club, back in charge. Go draft your guy and say, hey, Lamar, there's the future. Sorry, live with it, kid. You put yourself in this position. And after the first franchise tag, I would tag him the second time and then trade him. Why would I let the second franchise tag expire and never get anything for him? What do you think you can get from David? You're the GM.
Oh, you could get a lot. Half the league doesn't have a quarterback. You could still get a first rounder minimum for Lamar.
One franchise tag, you draft this spring, and then go cash out your dividends on him.
Start sending us your texts for Dr. Roto. He'll answer your fantasy football questions coming up in 25 minutes time. More with Pat Kirwan. NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today show. On the other side, Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
We'll get into the reviewing the roughing the passer here, Pat.
Great.
Pat, I was
Yes,
asking them earlier, who do you think is the greatest snow quarterback of all time?
The greatest snow quarterback of all time, Bart Starr.
Was mentioned in our Twitch chat room. I threw out Tarkington.
Yeah. Back when everyone was outside all the time. And, you know, I guess it's the success Green Bay had up there with Vince Lombardi. Because in Vince Lombardi's world, it didn't snow. It's just time to play. And maybe it's those legendary Dallas games up there. Why does this happen every time I go in the air now?
Uh-oh.
Come on. They're cleaning the tee box. I got to get all these down. Hold on. All right. Well,
We can barely hear it, Pat. It's fine.
I'll just put down these hurricane shutters, see if I can muffle it a little bit. Danny Butt's a good guy.
I like Danny a lot. He's a nice guy. I know he was saying his kid's big into baseball. I know he does the travel baseball thing pretty hard.
He does.
Now, was that other guy with him? Is that the crazy Buffalo fan that was with him?
Rich, yeah, he was talking to Brad a lot.
Yeah.
He's the guy that's involved. He's a very wealthy guy, but he's involved with recruiting young hockey players all over the country.
Okay, that's the Rochester guy.
Yeah. The other two guys I didn't really know. But the one guy with the gray hair, Danny said he works for him. I never see him at the shop, so I don't know.
It's not golf season for you yet.
No, it's not. I wish it was, but I'll go over the range today and hit balls for 45 minutes an hour.
Hello? I'm good. Okay.
I'm back.
Yes,
Friday,
sir.
no bueno. What about later today?
You still good for January 4th? David?
Yeah.
Good.
That'll be very, very exciting. You're not in town between Christmas and New Year's, correct?
I am in town that whole week. My kid, one of my children.
It'll have to be
one
Monday.
group's going to
Yeah.
be here.
10:30.
We get off the air on Christmas Day.
Yeah.
First of all, we have games Christmas Eve like everybody.
Right.
I
On
need
Christmas
you to text
Day,
me
we
the
have
address
one
you gave me
stinking
on last
game.
week. You text me over your address.
And because it's the second game, our pregame show, no
Right.
one's going to watch.
Appreciate it.
Yeah,
Right.
that is.
Yep.
But I'll be back that night. I get back in at Christmas night at midnight. I'll be here that week with those kids.
Okay. Well, I'll be in town that week. So if you're going out for Thursday Night Football, let me know.
Yeah, I will. See.
45 seconds.
I think my daughter and her husband got a seaplane taking us some island for a couple of days, and I think we got the 3 kids, which would make it impossible for me to go out.
Yeah, that's what I figured.
Although
Which is fine.
my wife guarantees that she likes watching them. I'll hold it to her. You know, I love when the kids are here. Good, you got them Thursday. You love them on Thursday because that would really be impressive.
Then she'd say to you, "Yeah, but I just had them 3 to 7."
Yeah, I know.
15 seconds. Here we go.
Why?
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
21 minutes past the hour. Dr. Roto to join us in a little more than 15 minutes. Get your fantasy football questions in for Dr. Roto. Text them in. 21,000 is our text number. 21,000. FSN Radio, if you've never texted before, is the keyword. Or if you're watching on the Miller and Moulton Twitch channel, just send them in on, the Twitch chat room, or in the Twitch chat room, I should say.
Pat, we saw yesterday that there was some news coming out that they might be reviewing roughing the passer calls. They're talking about even doing it in the postseason this year. Just your thoughts on more reviews coming from upstairs.
Well, they have to do something about cleaning up the game again. They have too many flaws in their system. So I was disturbed, and I like Troy Vincent quite a bit. But when Troy Vincent said chasing perfection is the wrong way to go, I was disheartened by that. He played football. He knows your defense has to be perfect. If the corner's not in the flat when he has the flat and they throw a touchdown, that's called no perfection. So here's their excuses that are going to come out. Well, we don't want the game to be more than 3 hours. All right, we've heard that excuse for 15 years. The games are shorter today than they were a year ago. There's streamlining things. The second thing is, it's a health issue. You know what's wrong? When we see a big game decided by a bad roughing the passer call, this is what this storyline is heading towards, and they don't feel like that should be reviewable because they don't want to be reviewing it, and they certainly don't want the coaches to challenge it, which is a mistake. All the way back to Belichick. Challenge anything. He didn't ask for more challenges. I had a lot of calls yesterday when we got into this subject. You know what they thought right away? Oh, no, the games will be 4 hours. They're not going to be any longer than they are now because they get 3 challenges. I will tell you this about officials. They're disheartened. They feel like no one's on their side. They think that the league office is now kind of taking over the biggest decisions. So the morale, and I got this from an official, the morale is at an all-time low. That's what he said. And then the league is the one who says to these guys, when in doubt, throw the flag. You can't say that. You pay these guys to officiate, and you're trying to affect their decision-making. When in doubt, throw the flag. So we've had too many bad roughing the passer calls that come with throw them out of the game. So they got to fix this thing, but they're not going to fix it because the competition committee will talk about it and then shelf the thing at the owners' meetings when I'll be there, and I'll be upset again.
Worst part of the NFL right now, ladies and gentlemen, is the competition committee. It really is. If they could have universal change to the competition committee, the league would be in a much better place. All right, let's get to a couple of the games. And in a way, it's great, Pat. Okay, 2 of the games that we're definitely going to ask you about are Detroit at the Jets and Dallas at Jacksonville. Think about it. We're asking you about key games in mid-December involving the Lions, Jets, and Jags. That's good for the league.
It's very good for the league. Dan Campbell's very good for the league. Robert Saleh is very good for the league. Good coaches, really training players to do it the right way, be physical. So I love where Detroit's going. I don't know. I think we're all getting a little too excited that they're moving along a little quicker in our minds than they probably are. I will say that the strangest stat out there for the whole week is Jared Goff, 20 touchdowns at home and 2 on the road. Yeah, he's got a couple more games, but the pressure that the Jets, if they have Quinnen Williams and those guys, can put on Detroit is a bad matchup for them in that sense. But I like that game to go down to the wire. It sounds like White's going to play, and I like the way he spreads the ball all over the field. So I like the game. I like it 24-21, and I do like the Jets to win it at the end.
What about the Bengals and the Bucks? Do you give the Bucks any shot, or are they just a bad football team right now, Pat?
I think they're a bad football team. Vita Vea is not going to play. Tristan Wirfs is not going to play. Cincinnati, to me, is a very dangerous team. Every Monday I run out because I know the seedings. I know them all except for the Monday night game, like last week, New England. And when I ran it out last week in the matchups I think would happen, I had Cincinnati in the Super Bowl against Philadelphia. So those guys in Cincinnati, the quarterback is a smooth operator. He's got great weapons. The two-headed monster in the backfield that they have, without Vita Vea, you watch how much they pound that ball. I like Cincinnati by a touchdown or more.
What about Jacksonville? If they can win this game, and by the way, they're getting the A treatment from Fox. They're getting the A team, all right. And if they beat Dallas, they could possibly be playing the Tennessee Titans in the regular season finale for the AFC South title. Are they ready to beat one of what is probably the 5 best teams in the league?
I don't think so. Now, I will say this. I'm so pleased with Trevor Lawrence's growth and development, but he's not practicing with that toe. So if the toe's and any issue at all in his escapability against the number 1 pass rush team in the league, that's a bad matchup for Jacksonville in this one. I do like the idea of Jacksonville winning just for the sake of putting that Tennessee game on the line for the division, but I don't see it happening. And I do think that Dallas will be ready to roll here. You look at the things Dallas does in the last couple of weeks, how many points a game they're scoring in the high 30s. I don't think Jacksonville can get to that against this team. And then I like the two-headed monster that Dallas has in their backfield. You could make a case that Mr. Inside and Mr. Outside have made it really hard on opponents and taken a lot off Dak Prescott's plate to perform. That's why I like Dallas.
The Giants in Washington, you have Ron Rivera on every week on your show. The Commanders seem to be in a pretty good spot right now. They look like a playoff team to me. Do they to you?
Yes, I like them. I like them in this game for starters because this game's critical to getting to the playoffs. I like their front. I asked Ron yesterday, are we going to see Chase Young? And he said he had 2 good practices, 1 more. And the answer to that is yes. So today's an important day. If you're following the Commanders, you're going to want to know how the practice went today. Did Chase Young go out there and practice fully? And if he did, we're going to see him. Love their defense. Heineke, his numbers are nothing, but he's a leader. And they kind of feel like they can survive and perform with him. So I like Washington to make the playoffs, starting with a win against the Giants.
Washington 6-1-1 in their last 8. The Giants 0-3-1 in their last 4. Sunday late afternoon, Titans Chargers, a pair of 7-6 teams. It's a big game.
Yeah, as I said, Autry's coming back, which will help the defense, which has been shaky. The Chargers have their full complement of receivers, and while they were waiting for both Williams and Allen to come back, that kid Palmer started playing pretty well. So they've got 3 of them. They got all kinds of flaws around them. I don't think they can go very far, but I would not want to play them in the playoffs with Justin Herbert on the field. So I think they can go out there and beat Tennessee.
Well, if they are going to not make the playoffs, it's probably going to be because the Patriots hold them off. They've got the Raiders this week. Vegas calls that a pickup game, not the Vegas Raiders, but the people that make the gambling lines in Vegas basically have this as a pick-em, Pat.
Well, the Raiders are a team that you love to hate because you look at them on paper, you like what you see, and then they don't perform. But I do think they have enough firepower against these guys. Look, can the Patriots score? Not really. they're like 17 to 20 point kind of team. And the Raiders certainly can score more than that. But trusting the Raiders for me is very difficult. But I would say they have enough talent, and Josh Jacobs on the run game. So I'll take the Raiders in that game. Interesting about the coach of the Raiders and Matt Patricia, both guys held the same job a year ago. So it's fun to see how that's going to go. But I don't know how you guys see that one. I'm not particularly interested in that game, but does anyone see the Patriots winning outside of that Belichick's coaching them?
I do, because the Raiders lose close games, and this figures to be a close game.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
So believe it or not, I'm going to take the Patriots because they make less mistakes. 10 seconds, Pat. I'm not kidding. 10 seconds. Did Marcus Mariota quit?
Sounds like he did.
That's unbelievable. And
I have 4 seconds left. The head coach said we're changing quarterbacks not because of the injury. We're changing quarterbacks for performance.
Right.
And that probably broke his back, because they go back a long way, those two, and I'm sure he felt betrayed.
He's Pat Kirwan, NFL Radio's Moving the Chain, CBS's NFL Today Show. Dr. Roto is next.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka. The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs. Powered by Clutch Vodka.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around again.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
So Becker's been released from jail, and Henry, is it Cavill, has been fired as Superman. Got big news out there, Mark.
Who's been released from jail?
Boris Becker.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he sent out a tweet saying he'd been fired. He had a dinner meeting with the creators last night, and they said, we're moving on. That's after months earlier he had been assured he was the guy.
Got to go 3-1, Adam.
Got to remember, Adam, the Titans play the Texans. So you have to figure they're going to win at least one game. So you got to figure the Titans are going to get to 8.
Absolutely.
Which means you would have to go 3-1 minimum. Becker was in jail for tax evasion. Hold on here. Ryan wants to know. Chubba Hubbard. Jeff Wilson. Wilson's injured, isn't he? Wilson playing? What's happened to Gabriel Davis?
He's fallen off the face of the earth.
Oh, Canada relief. Apparently, The Rock, pushed Cavill hard for the job. So that's why he credits him. Do you have Roto?
He's calling him right now, it looks like. Are you calling Roto right now? Are you calling Roto right now?
Yeah, we can't wait till the last minute with Roto. Do we have him, yes or no?
David, I can't talk to both of them. Sorry. Are you calling Roto right now? You've got to talk to me, Felipe.
I'm on the phone with him, yes.
Jesus Christ.
God damn it, Jim. I'm doing the best I can.
I'm doing the best I can.
I got him yelling at me. I got you not answering me.
Sorry.
Because I'm not yelling at you, Mark. I'm yelling at Felipe.
I know, but he ain't listening to you.
I know. Apparently, I didn't know that.
10 seconds.
I didn't realize this is selective. I'm not listening to Miller and Moulton. Press the button.
Here we go. Damn it.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
All right, gear up. Let's go. 22 minutes before the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. The playoffs are upon us in fantasy football, baby. Dr. Roto is here. Dr. Roto, who you can hear weekend mornings on SiriusXM's Fantasy Sports Radio. He, of course, joins us every Thursday at this time. You can also hear him Tuesday and Friday nights, 10 to midnight on the Better Sports Network. Go to his website. He's got a great staff. They give out great advice, and that's no bull. DrRoto.com, drroto.com. Follow him on Twitter at Dr. Roto. Doc, I covered all the bases. Are you ready?
You did. My favorite color is blue. And, I like a good steak maybe 3 times a year, and there we go.
Long walks on a sandy beach. Got it. Okay.
Who doesn't like those? Yeah, of course.
When we can. All right. Doc, let's get right to the questions because I know David's lined up on the Twitch chat room. I'm lined up in the text line, so let's get right at them. These are questions that I can't believe I'm asking, but I am. Mike White or Tom Brady?
Well, look, who in their right mind would come back to this? Don't you? I mean, maybe I am just a sucker, but I feel like at what point will the Tampa Bay Buccaneers wake up and be the team that we know they can be? But they just seem to be walking in like this haze all season long. I mean, I thought that Brady would go out to California last week and actually show something, but I don't know. I mean, will I play Mike White? Probably not. The Lions defense is playing much better. I think I'm going to take a chance with Brady at home because they're literally fighting for their playoff lives, as are the Jets. But I guess I'll take Brady, but it's close. But the Bengals lost Trey Hendrickson last week. He's really a good pass rusher, and I think that's going to be a big loss.
All right. What do you do if you had Debo or Dameon Pierce for that matter? You know, they're saying 1 to 3 weeks. Well, that's enough to kill you this time of year. What do you do if you had Debo or Dameon Pierce? Where do you go?
Well, Dameon Pierce, I think the writing was on the wall there because, you know, you saw over the past, not last week, but past few weeks, he's been getting fewer carries. So at this point, you know, he's got a hangnail and they're shutting him down. I don't expect him back for the fantasy playoffs, which is a big loss. And that's why if you play in a league that has fab, you always have to keep some money to the end of the season because the Rex Burkheads of the world pop up. And now all of a sudden you need to have money for them. And, you know, you don't think you want to ever do that. Or Jawan Jennings, right in the situation with Deebo Samuel. I like Jawan Jennings. I think he's a terrific third receiver. But on that team, he just doesn't get that many looks. So I think Rex Burkhead is in play. I think Jawan Jennings is in play. We're not seeing Debo, and I doubt if you see Pierce, it's going to be in the championship game. But I just don't see why the Texans would bring him back. They have no reason to.
I have two Tua questions, so I'll give them both at the same time. Tua or Purdy, and then Tua or Fields?
I mean, I think people are worried about the weather already in Buffalo, as well they should be. But I think I will take Tua over Purdy. But I'm taking Josh Fields right now. I am. I mean, I know that game is going to be ugly, but, you know, let's say it's ugly. It's okay. I mean, so he'll get some garbage time points. There's nothing more than Justin Fields running for another 60 yards in garbage time. So, I mean, I think you have to ride or die with Fields at this point.
All right. I've got a wide receiver 2 question and a running back 2 question. DJ Moore or Zay Jones at wide receiver?
I mean, can we really trust DJ Moore at this point? I know that they're saying he's feeling a little bit better than expected, but man, that game's implied total is 37 points. I mean, how many passes are they going to even throw in that game? Which is really shocking to me because Sam Darnold likes throwing at DJ Moore. But I don't know if you can trust DJ Moore at this point. I think Zay Jones, I know it's a tougher matchup, but at least the Jaguars are passing the football.
And the running back 2 question is Rashad White or ATN?
I mean, I'll ask you guys this. What's your thoughts on Fournette? I mean, you're down here, you see it. Do you think Fournette is a 50-50 with White at this point, or do you think White is more 60-40?
I think White's more 60-40.
I do too. But I mean, do I know that for sure? I don't. I just think that the Dallas Cowboys are going to play way better this week. So I think I'm staying away from ETN. I think Dallas defense is a great play.
Another running back question for you, Doc. Kenneth Walker banged up tonight or Singletary versus Miami?
I'm going to take Kenneth Walker banged up tonight. I think the Seahawks will play better than we think. I think this is an interesting game for Brock Purdy, right? Who is this guy? I think he's better than most people think, but you got to go on the road. You got to play in Seattle. You know, the weather is probably going to be a little disgusting, but I still like, you know, Kenneth Walker is always a good play, and that offense is electric, and there's no reason that he can't, you know, maybe he only gets 40 yards, but I think he scores, and those 6 points really help you win.
Just pay attention. Purdy, a late add to the injury list. He's officially listed as questionable. Remember, he was removed from the game with 8 minutes to go with an oblique injury, and it's a short week. So just pay attention tonight. Canada Relief in the Twitch chat room wants to know, is A.J. Dillon running back 1 worthy?
No. I mean, but he has played better as of late. And I mean, you've got to think against the Rams, there's a real good chance that he scores. But I mean, I don't think he's running back 1 worthy. I mean, he hasn't been all season. That's been the problem. I mean, I have not made the playoffs in as many leagues as I normally do. And I'm blaming A.J. Dillon for some of that. I mean, he was my second running back. I want a phone call with that guy. Get him over here.
Jerick McKinnon or Brian Robinson Jr.? Who are you starting, Doc?
I feel like I don't ever like to chase last week's points. It's never a good life decision. It's never a good decision in fantasy. So if you're playing McKinnon thinking you're getting what you got last week, that's a mistake. I'm not saying he's not going to play well, but look, it's the Texans. Are you telling me that game's not going to be a blowout? I mean, are you telling me that Ronald Jones is probably not going to get out there for a few carries late in the game? So this doesn't feel like a Jerick McKinnon week to me. So I'd be very careful with that. Where on the other hand, Brian Robinson could easily score, and that game to me is for the last playoff spot in the NFC.
Go Raiders wants to know, I've been riding Trevor Lawrence and Aaron Rodgers, but now I have to choose. Who am I going with?
Well, like I said, I think Dallas was embarrassed last week. And I know the Jaguars are playing pretty good football. I'm not going to say they're not, but I just feel like Dallas is going to bring it. They're a roller coaster, right? How good were they against the Vikings? And then how bad were they here? And then how good are they here? This feels like a good week to me. So I'd be careful with Trevor Lawrence. I mean, the Packers, you've got to think they're going to win that game. You've got to think that Aaron Rodgers is going to put up 240 and 2. I mean, I'm just not sure this is a week that Lawrence does much better than that. But, there you have that. I think I'm going to take Rodgers.
ETN or Kirk for the flex?
Dallas is pretty soft at the slot cornerback. That's the one spot they are soft. So I probably would go with Kirk. Look, ETN, I love ETN. I mean, we've talked about this. But how many times has he been stopped on the 1 yard line? Too many, right? That's the mark of you want your guy. You're on the 1 yard line, dude. Get in the end zone, right? We've seen guys over the years. Gerald Riggs made a career of going 1 yard. Dude scored like 15 touchdowns 1 year. Travis Etienne can't get 1 yard. It's a problem.
PPR, JB Vike wants to know he has to choose one of these 3 running backs. Does he go with ATN against the Cowboys, Knight against the Lions, or Pacheco against Houston?
Ooh, I don't know. Those are 3 guys I kind of like. This feels like Pacheco should score this week, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
The 31-point implied total really feels like he should be scoring. That said, I like Zonovan Knight. I do. I think that Michael Carter will be rendered irrelevant when Breece Hall Roto returns to the lineup. I think Hall and Knight, that's the combo platter you want. But I think Pacheco is going to score this week.
Dak or Purdy, Doc?
Dak. I mean, like I said, I think the Cowboys show up. I do. I think the Cowboys show up. Now, look, even if the Jaguars play well, that's even better for Dak, right?
Yes.
So, I mean, the bigger worry you would have is that the Jaguars don't show up. But if the Jaguars show up and it gets into a shootout, let's go. I mean, I've got Dak in one of my playoff leagues. I'm hoping that he has that 300-yard, 3-touchdown game.
I think I know the answer to this, but Missouri wants to know, do I go with Waddle or Mike Williams?
Well, look, I mean, I know why you want to go with Waddle. We're down here. We watch.
No, I'm going with Williams. They're just 2 in the snow. No.
Yeah, you're going with the chart. And the Titans have the worst pass defense. And let me say this. Ask yourself this, guys. Take a look. If anybody, Felipe has some spare time on his hands, look at every game the Chargers win and look at every game Mike Williams plays well. They correlate. When he goes off for 100 and a touchdown, they win. I think he's going for 100 and a touchdown this week.
Waddle at Buffalo or D-Hop at Denver? Who are you going with, Doc?
Well, I mean, look, can I just talk about that game on Monday night? It's just how many people's fantasy, lives went up in flames watching Kyler Murray and Ramondre Stevenson and D-Hop, right? I mean, Colt McCoy, fell in love with James Conner. He didn't fall in love with D-Hop. So I guess I'll still play him over, Waddle in the snow, but, you're not feeling good about that. And that implied total is, really low. I mean, was it like 34, 35? That may be one of the lowest I've ever seen in football.
Yeah, and there are definitely issues going on in Arizona in the locker room and everywhere else. Running back 2, Pacheco or Najee?
Well, let's see. I mean, I'll go with Pacheco. Najee. Look, I think the Panthers' rebound this year has been one of the most underrated stories of the season because Matt Rule was awful. We saw that. They started with Baker, and Steve Wilkes has come in and stabilized this team. I'm not saying he's a great coach, but this defense looks good. I mean, ask yourself, do you really envision the Steelers scoring 24 points in this game?
No.
I don't see it. J.C. Horn has been lights out. Frankie Louvu, Frankie gets the quarterback. Derek Brown has been good. I like this defense. I'm staying away from as many Steelers as I can.
All right, Kirk or Kenneth Walker, PPR league?
Closer call for me. Probably, that's a tough one. The 49ers are so good against the run that I think with Walker, you're hoping for the touchdown equity. But I think with with Kirk, you're getting the points, right? You're getting the PPR points. I'll go with Kirk.
We have a defense question. Saints or Eagles?
Well, look, I think this is the week you want to play the Saints. I'm very interested in Desmond Ridder. I really want to see what he looks like. I mean, we watched Marcus Mariota for the better part of the season, and look, he's just a bus driver, literally a bus driver. Can Desmond Ridder do more? That said, in his first start in New Orleans, they're going to get to him 3 times. He's going to throw 1 pick, probably bobble the ball once. That just feels like 10 fantasy points right there.
Let's see. For flex, pick one out of these 3. Tyler Lockett, Michael Pittman Jr., or Pacheco?
Well, let's see. The Colts are playing the Vikings, and man, the Vikings' pass defense is terrible. Bad. So, look, if Mac Jones threw for 382 and Jared Goff threw for 3-something and Mike White threw for a ton, I think Matt Ryan can. So don't we like Pittman?
Process of elimination. Rugg wants to know, of these 3, pick one: Mike Williams, Devontae Smith, George Pickens.
Well, it's not Pickens. So, Devonta Smith has been pretty darn good. And you've got to think in that Eagles-Bear game, DFS-wise, I'm telling you straight up, one of my teams, I always have 3 lineups. One of them is going to have Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Devonta Smith, right? You can't imagine that they're not scoring points against the Bears. But I like Mike Williams. I do. I like Mike Williams. He's just a game changer to me. And playing at home against the Titans secondary is slow. They're physical, but they're slow. And that's never a good thing.
Montgomery or Detroit's Williams for RB2? Who do you like?
Well, see, the problem with Jamal Williams is that if you look at his box scores, if he doesn't score a touchdown, he's actually really bad. Like, he'll go 16 for 38 and a touchdown, and then you're like, oh, I got 9.8 points. So then it looks good. But if you take away the touchdowns, it doesn't. So I think you got to be very careful if you play him.
What's your Patriots plan B at running back with Stevenson hurt?
Don't you think Damian Harris is going to play? I think so. So, Bill Belichick likes Damian Harris. The only reason that he's been usurped, if you will, is because Stevenson is great. But can I tell you guys, either the Cardinals really stink, which could be, by the way, and I think Cliff Kingsbury doesn't make it to week 18. I think he gets whacked before. But I thought Pierre Strong and Kevin Harris looked like they were really good as well. So I can't tell you if they're good or the Cardinals defense is terrible.
And Roto, finally, 30 seconds. Do you have a playoff philosophy different than the regular season? Quick tip, yes or no?
Well, I think we get attached to the name, to the guy. So let's say D-Hop, right? We like the name. But if he's in a bad matchup against Patrick Surtain with a backup quarterback, sometimes you have to bench that guy for a guy in a better matchup. I know it's tough to do. I know you don't want to lose because of that. But you know what? If you want to win, you got to take risks.
He is the last doctor to make house calls. He is Dr. Roto. Follow him on Twitter at Dr. Roto, DRROTO. Go to his website, drroto.com. Weekends, mornings, SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio, the Better Sports Network, 10 to midnight, Tuesdays and Fridays. Doc, thanks so much for making another house call. We appreciate it.
You got it, guys. Talk to you next week.
Getting a lot of information in quick fashion there with Dr. Roto. We will talk to FAU head coach Tom Herman. He is next in the bonus hour right here on Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network. Miller and Moulton here for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
Mark, remember Nick Charles, Fred Hickman, the CNN Play of the Day?
Yeah, CNN did a nightly sports show. That was a while ago.
Yes, it was. Just work with me. Everyone liked the pod, the Play of the Day. So how about we have the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day?
Sounds good. Fun. Smooth. Like Clutch Vodka.
Listen weekday mornings for the Clutch Vodka Play of the Day.
That's Clutch with a K.
Don't miss the Miami Dolphins watch party every Sunday at the Seaside Bar and Grill in Bonita Springs. Presented by Clutch Vodka, The Seaside will be serving Clutch Vodka drinks, including the awesome Bloody Mary bar at the Seaside. If you can't be at Hard Rock Stadium, come have fun at the best place in town to watch the Dolphins and enjoy the best, clean, crisp, smoothest vodka. That's Clutch with a K. Miami Dolphins parties every week at the Seaside Bar and Grill on Old 41 in Bonita Springs, powered by Clutch Vodka.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
David Moulton for Napa, Napa Auto Parts, and Napa Filters. Insist on Napa filters for your vehicles, or if you're a do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters. Napa has a filter for almost anything on earth that moves, whether it's motorcycles, foreign and domestic cars, vans, SUVs, earth-moving equipment. You get the idea. Napa Auto Parts, Napa filters. Insist on them for your vehicles, or if you're do-it-yourselfer, only buy Napa filters.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com. You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
David, you will not believe what just happened.
What is that?
So, mid-segment, woman goes up to the window. Mark sends woman to my room. She opens the door, and there is a box full of empanadas that she has in her hands and said is for us. And she said that some dude brought it and said, make sure this gets to Felipe and Mark.
Wow. Do we know who the some dude was?
Nope, but I'm posting a video on Twitter to find out.
You guys hit the jackpot.
We really did. They're really good.
And not only that, you're going right to the doctor, right?
It's the sleep doctor, and he just called that last break just to pick up my CPAP machine, and he canceled on me because he's got a doctor's appointment, so I go Monday now.
Gotcha.
Because another weekend without it, it's not, hopefully won't kill me, but I'm not missing my tea time tomorrow for this.
Hey, listen, if he's canceling on you, you get to cancel on him.
How's Friday looking? Terrible.
No, not going to work for me. Thanks, Doc. Not
Like,
only that, all you have to do is pick it up, right?
Apparently, and then it takes about an hour him to show me how to use it and whatever they go through.
Let me tell you something. If it takes him an hour to show you how to put that, you need a new machine.
He said plan on being there an hour, is what he told me.
Wow. All right. Well.
Oh, my God. I need to know what.
So damn good.
Felipe, I don't know if there's a way for you to ask him this and to relay the message, but when I go to the Twitter handle Coach Tom Herman, it's got nothing but him at Texas. He's got like nothing on it since 2020.
I wouldn't even bother with it.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not going to mention the bonus hour because we're planning on running this tomorrow. I'm just going to do it like we're straight up.
Nice.
Johnny Mac, are you responsible for this? Because thank you.
You the man, Johnny Mac. Yeah, he said it was me, 8:57 a.m.
Oh, thank you very much. Where did you get them? Are they homemade or did you purchase these somewhere?
Coach is on hold. We're back in 45 seconds.
Has this show been as good as it feels?
Yes.
For December 15th, this is a pretty damn good show.
It's the most wonderful time.
Okay.
Well, he wasn't singing till the empanadas there.
Unbelievable.
I have just one query.
What a sellout you are.
Want a Sprite cranberry?
Empanadas bring good cheer.
Wow.
10 seconds.
You are listening to Miller and Moulton, exclusively on the Florida Sports Network. And now here's Mark Miller and David Moulton.
Top of the hour, and we are thrilled to welcome for the first time, we hope the first of many, the new head coach at FAU, Tom Herman, who's gracious enough to literally put recruiting aside for 12 minutes to join us. Coach, it's David and Mark. Congratulations. Thanks for your time. How are you?
Thanks, guys. I'm doing great. I'm down here in Orlando, and I pulled into what I thought was a nice little safe spot here in the high school parking lot, and now all of a sudden I've got the ROTC their formations right behind my car. So if you hear a gun go off or something like that, it's just ROTC.
Good to know. Good to know. You can hear it in your voice, Coach. You sound like you're fired up to get on the recruiting trail. I mean, you can actually hear the excitement in your voice to get back out and start going after these young men.
Well, can we talk about another thing first? So we had our SID, Sports Information Director. She sent me your guys' Twitter bios, and one of them said ketchup on a hot dog should be a felony. And I would argue the other way, that in the Herman family, we put ketchup on our ketchup, by the way. So we put ketchup on anything. And if you put it on a hot dog, I do not think that should be a felony. You?
I do. Just on a hot dog. You want to put it on a hamburger? That's fine. French fries, you can't eat French fries without ketchup. But on a hot dog, it should be mustard only. That's the way we were raised in my family.
Well, and I appreciate your family for raising you a certain way, but we do have to respect everyone's preferences when it comes to condiments on hot dogs. And I wanted to put that out there very quickly.
Point taken, Coach. Point taken.
Oh, but go ahead,
Coach. It's important to know just where you draw the line. If Mark Miller's son was a 4-star recruit, okay, would his philosophy on ketchup be a deal breaker?
Say it again. Hang on. The ROTC is making me move here. So I'm going to try to get out of these guys' way.
Yes.
And make sure that I don't hit any students while we do it.
Yes. We've never had someone shot on the air before. We really don't want to start now. That is true.
Please. Yes. All right. I think I'm clear. So go ahead and what was the question again? I'm sorry.
My co-host Mark Miller is the one who believes ketchup on a hot dog's a felony. So my question to you is, all right, when recruiting, if you find out that the dad of a 4-star recruit feels that way, do you go there? Is that a deal breaker?
No, there's usually not very many deal breakers in recruiting if the kid's good enough.
Is it harder to recruit now, Coach? With NIL, with everything that's going on, does it make it harder, or is the process still the same?
Well, I think it's still about relationships. The unique thing that even in just my year and a half, 2 years off is, I spent the first week on the job, all last week, meeting individually with players on our current roster. I think we've got a very, very talented roster at FAU. But then this week, I'm out on the road recruiting our high school commitments and so on and so forth. But I've also done 3 home visits with parents of our current players. And it is not the way it was meant to be. These players are really good players, and they don't want to go in the portal, but they are literally having other Division I schools calling them and telling them dollar amounts and figures like that. And so that's just not what college football was meant to be. I want players to get paid. I want them to get paid as much as they deserve and earn, but we've got to find some way to get this out of recruiting and get it out of certainly the transfer portal issue. And you go to school X and you make school X, this amount of dollars. I think you should reap the benefits of that with your name, image, and likeness. Absolutely. I just don't think it should be used as a recruiting inducement or, to get a guy to transfer from one school to another.
He's Tom Herman. He's the new football coach at FAU, and he's kind enough to join us here on Miller and Moulton. And Coach, normally our first question to someone like you who took the job is underhanded, in which, hey, why'd you take the job? So you, with an accomplished resume, who could afford to be choosy, why FAU?
Oh man, it reminded me so much of the University of Houston, but actually it's probably in a better position with the facility that they just opened a couple years ago, the area of Florida that you and your family can live in, as well as your players live in Boca, is phenomenal. And then you're recruiting Dade County, Broward County, West Palm Beach County. Or Palm Beach County, excuse me. And it doesn't get much better than that. And so I knew if I wanted to get back into it, it needed to be a place where my family could feel comfortable living and we would have an opportunity to win. And this was the one job out there that I felt like that was the case.
What are your short-term and long-term expectations? Is this a team that should be playing for conference championships, every other year? What is it that you think you can build at FAU, Coach?
Well, the answer is yes. We're not going to shy away from that word championship. I don't think any of us should. And there's too many talented players on this team to expect anything less than that. And I think we've got to have very, very high expectations within our program, very high standards in our program. And we'll never shy away from that word championships. Now, we all know how different seasons materialize, but at the end of the day, I was brought here to build Florida Atlantic University football, or continue to build on what Coach Schnellenberger and Coach Kiffin and Coach Taggart and everybody built, Coach Partridge built here. Our job is now to take it to the next level, and I think we have a really good blueprint to accomplish that.
Coach, before, there was a clear line. It was Power 5, Group of 5. They renamed him. But now with the new playoff where the top 6 conference champions get to go, do you think being at a quote unquote group of 5 school like you were in the past at Houston is easier going forward? Because, I mean, it would have taken a nuclear event to get in the playoff at Houston. Now you can make the playoff at FAU. It's going to be hard, but there's a path.
Oh, absolutely there is. And I think the expanded playoffs is great for college football. We are the only sport that doesn't have an extended playoffs. Even 4 teams was pulling teeth, right? to get 4 teams in a playoff. So I think at this point the powers that be are realizing that, and this is not to sound any type of way, but we were 5-0 against quote unquote Power 5 schools. We beat number 3 Oklahoma. We beat number 3 Louisville when Lamar won the Heisman. We beat number 8 Florida State with Jalen Ramsey and Derwin James and Dalvin Cook. I mean, you want to talk about some dudes now. And our little 2-star and no-star guys at the University of Houston, we went and did all that. And I think that is a testament to the kind of kids that you recruit, but also the kind of culture that you put in place. And Luke Fickell showed it last year or the last few years at Cincinnati. And I think with the expanded playoffs, it's certainly going to give these schools that maybe never had the opportunity, at least the opportunity. Now we got to go do it, right? We got to go do it. But the opportunity is there, and I think that's a really positive thing.
What's the intangible you look for? You mentioned the 2-star, the no-star. I would think you'd want a kid with a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. What's the intangible you look for those, 1, 2, 3-star guys that you're going to try to build up while you coach them at FAU?
Competitiveness. I want them, if they're playing tiddlywinks with their grandma and they're keeping score, I want them to beat their grandmas, you know what. And because winning is that important to them. Your listeners probably don't even know what tiddlywinks are. So I'm probably aging myself there by even saying that word. But that is by far the best trait a young guy can have is competitiveness, that he wants to be great. He wants to win, and he doesn't care what anybody says about him. An inch too short, a step too slow, whatever it is, he's going to go do whatever it takes to win a game and to win as a leader in the locker room.
Coach, first off, we're sincere when we say this. We hope this is the first of regular conversations. We would love to have you again. Secondly, thanks so much for literally putting recruiting aside for us for a dozen minutes. Third, we promise the next time we talk, you will not be surrounded by armed guards.
It's so weird. But anyway, so Felipe, thank you for putting me in at 9 o'clock. I appreciate you guys having me, and I'm going to go ahead and see if I can't park my car somewhere that the ROTC guys aren't going to be marching around it.
And we'll explain tiddlywinks to Felipe, by the way. He's one of those who has no idea what you were talking about. Be safe, Coach. Congratulations.
All right. Thanks, guys. Hey, go Owls and go catch up on hot dogs.
Wow.
Thanks, Coach.
Wow. Coming off the top rope, first interview. Boom.
Love it. Absolutely love it. Coach Tom Herman at FAU joining us on Miller and Moulton. That's how you do an interview. Before I answer these recruiting questions, who's the buffoon that doesn't put ketchup on a hot dog? I got to talk to that guy. That guy doesn't know what the hell he's talking about. That guy would be me. I'm one half of Miller and Moulton, and you're listening to the Florida Sports Network. Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Yeah. Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts back here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're gonna have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone, on 5th Avenue in Naples.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Johnny Mac, you are the man.
It was Johnny Mac?
Yeah.
Johnny Mac. God, I love that dude. Oh my God, BBQ. BBQ. Raj, get in here, man. Get in here. Get some of this.
Great gravy Canada relief.
Billy should bring his girlfriend an empanada. Oh God, I don't want to spoil the beans or anything, but the person who commented that is said woman. How good is that? Yeah. You're welcome. Freaking Johnny Mac, you're the man.
If you hear a gunshot.
Yeah, that was funny.
I just saw the comment. I love the fact that the SID sent the Twitter bios to the coach. I do. I mean, that's someone that you did 5 minutes worth of work. Here's who you're talking to, and the coach wanted to know who he's talking to.
Sure. Well, let me think about it. He's been head coach at Texas. He was a coordinator at Ohio State. I mean, he's used to the big time. That's how it rolls.
I understand that, but I always expect it to be done. And that Philly is the first good number you have in your phone. Yeah. That's how you build up a database right there. That's when you're talking to the SIDs and you go, well, can I just get the coach's cell number or have him, that's when you can somehow weasel your way into some of that stuff.
I said, Coach, thanks, Felipe. Also, I'm team ketchup on hot dog. He thumbs up it.
There you go. Now leave him alone.
Yep.
Yes, sir. Let it ride.
Gone to the coverall for the about 8 o'clock and made the move.
Don't blame you. Don't blame you. It's ridiculous in there. Coach got the stamp of approval from my mom. 3 minutes in, she sent a text. This guy's a keeper. Okay. Mom's watching from the Mountain Time Zone today.
What?
Yeah, all week she's out in Denver. Visiting my best friend and wife and son. and he's like a second child in the family, and also visiting, unfortunately, one of her two best friends in the world who's dying.
Oh.
So, Mom, if you're watching, give Aunt Audrey my love.
And try the edibles.
Bring them home at least. Well, no.
No.
Although you're flying into Newark, it's not like they're going to catch anything. It's just a matter of, can you get it through Denver?
Yeah, San Francisco's already got the or ESPN already starting the Josh Johnson would start if Purdy is out tonight, because there is a chance of that happening.
It's questionable. Short week doesn't help.
Merry Christmas from Hawaii?
Huh?
Steve.
Oh, I didn't see that one.
Nice. Why the hell are you awake?
I was going to say.
My buddy's heading there. No, he bought a place in Maui. He's heading there for 2 months.
Oh. Wow.
Leaving his wife and daughter in Portland and heading to Hawaii for 2 months.
By the way, so
one kid, 2 in college, 1 home, and he is heading for 2 months. I'm like, that a boy, David.
Come back, fries and barbecues.
He must have serious coin. Serious.
Thanks for listening. And now, more of Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
$21 past the hour. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com, about 20 minutes away from Good, Bad, and Ugly. What's on tap today was the day when, and our final thoughts. Been a hell of a show. Hope you were here for most of it. Matt Cannata in the 7 o'clock hour from Pro Football Network. Pat Kirwan joined us a day early. Dr. Roto, and boy, we took a ton of texts and questions in the Twitch chat room. And so if you missed it, we may have asked your question of Dr. Roto. But if you missed any part of the show, obviously, floridasportsnetwork.com, floridasportsnetwork.com, and download what you missed. And, we don't think too highly of us. And but we did a good show today. All right. Great guest list.
And we were rewarded for it.
I know.
All of a sudden, we're in the middle of that Tom Herman interview, and I've got someone knocking on the window in the studio, because when there's a light on that says on air, the first thing you do is start knocking on the studio door.
Yeah, there's nothing going on in here.
So Felipe sprang into action, and one of our listeners there dropped off some empanadas for us this morning. And Felipe and I have been eating like kings in here.
Johnny Mac.
I feel good about it because you've been eating during the shows a lot lately, and to the point of where I'm starving by the time 10 o'clock rolls around.
I have. Now, I must admit, I'm on a few more pills, than I used to be on. And so they say you really can't do this on an empty stomach. So part of first off, I'm just fat and love to eat. Okay. But then there's the whole medication angle, which allows me to eat even more. It's fantastic.
That is the biggest bunch of horse hockey I have ever heard. It doesn't, an empty stomach does not mean have 3 meals with the pill.
Well, Mark, it's all how you interpret what the doctor says. I mean, you heard it a certain way. I heard it differently. It's like roughing the passer and pass interference. I mean, it's all subjective. You think it's allowable contact. I think it's a personal foul. That's all. But way to go, Johnny Mac.
Yeah, Johnny Mac from our Twitch chat room dropping off breakfast for Felipe and I. Even gave one to the guy across the hall. That's how nice we are in here. Well, he brought so much food.
Yeah, he smelled it. Okay, And it's cold in that room, and to smell across the whole hall and through the cold. And when we say it's cold, we mean like you can damn near see your breath in that building. Once 8 o'clock comes, and for whatever reason, the fans kick in. Mark, here's the most alarming part of it, is the woman that was knocking on the door works in the building.
Correct.
Right. So she works for a radio company. Okay. And the fact that she was banging on the door while the red light was flashing saying on air, that is a little disconcerting. It's kind of like, hi, we need to have a refresher course. Okay. When
Well,
you see the red light, what do you think it means?
And a couple of, one, if they were to do this in other rooms in here, they would be met with a lot different outcome than me just kind of pointing to the room. But for those of you who have never experienced this on Twitch or have never seen this, there are two clear rooms where we are. There is one room that is full of microphones and a table that looks like a radio studio. There's another one with a control board that looks like a studio room. She went to the one that looks most obvious to be the on-air room. And once again, we start this by saying she's an employee of a radio station.
Correct.
Hey, I will not let you guys ridicule her. She brought me empanadas. When she opened that box, it was like that scene from Pulp Fiction when they opened the briefcase. Just glowing in my face.
Well, we know how to get to Felipe's heart. Let me tell you, man, you are easy, kid. Probably why you're part of the show, because the two of us aren't that hard either. We can be bought.
I can't believe Tom Herman came at me for this whole ketchup on a hot dog thing.
I know.
As he should.
I love that. Of all the things that we have in our bio, he goes, ketchup on a hot dog's a felony. Yeah, I'll do this interview. I got to find out which one of these yahoos that is.
Those are the first words on my Twitter bio, by the way.
A felony, too.
Yes, not a misdemeanor, a felony.
Right. No, something that, like gets Chris Beard's contract nullified. I mean, right, straight to you either have to assault, your fiance or put ketchup on a hot dog. I mean, it's a third-degree felony. I like it.
I mentioned that I do a radio show somewhere at the very end of it.
Well, that's kind of how we're treated. Oh, by the way, the 4 hours a day, 5 days a week, whatever. Miller and Moulton here on the Florida Sports Network. For what it's worth, Boris Becker was released from prison today. For those of you that remember him, he was in on tax evasion. They take that stuff seriously over in Europe. And so they let him go. Merry Christmas, Boris Becker out of prison.
And yesterday, Troy Vincent talking about perhaps adding roughing the passer to reviewable offenses.
Right. That's a slippery slope, because if you go there, if you go to that subjective a call, then you might as well just go with what Belichick said 8 years ago. We can challenge everything. We still get the same number of challenges.
All right. And David, one, you've been for that ever since you heard Belichick say it.
Totally.
I mean, you've been on the record for as long as he made that comment. You have been
correct,
vehemently on his side.
Yep.
Saying that's the right way to go.
Yes. Owners meetings in the spring of 2014. Correct.
Hear me out. If that's what we're going to do, would then you be for something like this because it may more quickly get us to what it is you're talking about? Because I don't think we just jump to challenging anything without putting some more subjective judgments in there. I don't think we make the leap to where Belichick is from where we are now. I think this could get us there.
I'm a little confused.
I don't think we're going to jump to the 3 challenges to challenge whatever you want tomorrow. We're not going to go from where football is today.
No.
No,
I agree.
Think this rule, by adding a subjective roughing the passer type call in there, could get us closer to what Belichick wanted.
Of course, because then this offseason, let's just say they do it for the playoffs, and we have just one bogus roughing the passing call that we get overturned. We will then obviously begin a groundswell of, see how well that worked. It's not a ton of calls. Okay. I know we didn't do this well 4 years ago, but if we're going to do it with roughing the passer, you then start to bring pass interference into play. Now, the reason why I think that they will literally only go there on their dying day, so to speak, is because, well, each team throws the ball 70 times a game. I mean, how many roughing the passer, first off, you can't even hit the quarterback. I mean, if, God forbid you're more than a second or a step away from the quarterback, you can't even touch him. Okay, so there are far few, hey, was that roughing the passer versus, hey, was that pass interference? But then again, if the teams only have the same number of challenges.
There you go, David. See, that's the part that makes this so much more intriguing to me, because I think it was, I'm trying to think what coach it was. Like Kingsbury might have challenged for the first time.
He did Monday night. He challenged the call for the first time.
Challenge. Well, we're 3/4 of the way through the damn season, and he hasn't felt the need to challenge anything. Well, I think that's on him, first of all, quite frankly. But coaches don't use challenges nearly as much as we think they do.
Correct, because they can't. But I'm with you. I don't think they'll do it, by the way. It's too bold. This league is not about bold. And the competition committee will go crazy. They will do everything in their power to overturn this in the spring if, in fact, they go there now, Mark. Miller and Moulton. We got good, bad, and ugly. What's on tap? Today was the day when. And our final thoughts all coming up next here on the Florida Sports Network.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn has multiple ways for guests to enjoy the water and have some fun. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn. Something for everyone. On 5th Avenue in Naples.
Mark Miller for SWFL Golf Carts, or online, flgolfcarts.com. If you're looking for a golf cart, an e-bike, or an e-motorcycle, go visit Alex and the gang at SWFL Golf Carts. flgolfcarts.com online. Check out their whole inventory. If you're looking for a custom cart, they can take care of you. 2-seater, 4-seater, 6-seater, they've got you covered. E-bikes, nobody better for value and service. E-motorcycles, check them out. Again, flgolfcarts.com. flgolfcarts.com.
Ladies and gentlemen, once again.
Hi. Excuse me.
Hey, the line starts here. Ma'am, if your party's not here, you're going to have to go around and get it.
If you had the opportunity to avoid all this, wouldn't you?
Salt Live is the official transportation provider of the Miller and Moulton Morning Show, making your trip to and from the airport seamless and stress-free. Salt Live is supported with the help of local partners like the Bayfront Inn. Gather your family and friends and enjoy a leisurely day on the water with a pontoon or deck boat. If you prefer to explore the waterways without a motor, the Bayfront has canoes, standboards, and kayaks. At the end of your journey, enjoy lunch or dinner at the Bamboo Tropical Bar and Grill. The Bayfront Inn, something for everyone on 5th Avenue in downtown Naples. BayfrontInNaples.com. When you need a ride, book with Salt Live Transportation, 308-8686, or book on saltlivetransportation.com.
You were listening to Miller and Moulton on the Florida Sports Network.
Ryan, don't know if you'd be able to challenge the call both ways, but my guess is, Ryan, you could. If they all of a sudden decide you could challenge roughing the passer. Officials are not fired. They are downgraded.
Matter to discuss.
And so that usually means that they don't get playoff games, and that's extra money.
Okay.
Mark Miller, letting me take the rest of this home.
Wow. Well, he's trying to behave. But that's, wow.
That's beautiful.
That is. That's dirty is what that is. You sure you don't want to just grab one more, Mark, before you
Up for City of Palms, you know?
hand over? Oh, wait a minute. So you're working? Is that today or tomorrow?
Well, the teams are practicing today, so I am working a little bit of it today.
Well, what the hell do you have to do?
And
Wipe
then
the floor?
He's doing social media stuff.
Friday.
Oh, got it.
Wednesday or Thursday? I don't know. A lot of basketball.
Don't hurt yourself.
If there is, hey, Felipe,
Yeah, go ahead.
if there's someone worthy of interview over there,
He can't hear you. I'll tell him.
If there is someone, we do have a 9 a.m. hour. We could one day. It doesn't have to be tomorrow. It could be next week.
What are you thinking?
I don't know.
David, are you talking about having someone from City of Palms possibly?
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
I've got someone for you.
Who?
Well, but you have to kind of clear it with us first as to what's the angle.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see. The 50th anniversary is next year. You know about John Naylor's passing. Do you know who that is?
I do know of John. Yes.
Yeah. Maybe talk about that. Talk about the teams this year. Donda was supposed to be there, but they
Who's
pulled
the
out.
person you're going to get?
Mary Schuck.
No, I would do Donnie. If we're actually talking the tournament and the teams in it, you can only go Donnie Wilkie. He's
Okay.
the one that books. He's the one that books the tournament.
Okay.
He travels the country and actually watches all of these teams year round.
Okay, then I can get Donnie on.
Yeah, well, but we've done Donnie before. I'm just, if you're there and you hear of something that you think's interesting, never mind the fact that there's a college coach there and they're actually sticking around till the next morning before they fly out.
But even if it's a college coach that's leaving, hey, I'm a producer for this show.
Right.
Yeah, there's a bunch. Mike Woodson was there last year.
Oh.
So was Coach L.
Coach K's been there before.
Yeah, so was Roy Williams.
So's Izzo. Izzo, by the way, says yes. And we know, by the way, if you ever go up to one of these coaches, we know we cannot talk about kids by name. We get it. Can't talk about kids till they sign. We know that.
Mm-hmm. Soap, there's an empanada coming your way. Don't worry.
What, you have your girlfriend watching?
She's on right now, yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
You sent me a screenshot.
Funny, I don't see her. Like, I don't get it in the Twitch thing.
You did. See, there you go. Yay.
Huh. Hi. How was meeting the parents and grandparents?
And you're in here now. Boy, oh boy.
Wow. You're head over heels.
No, it does not mean that at all.
We have to be nice to Philly. No, he has to be nice to her.
So scary. That
so scary. I'm sure it is a little frightening.
Oh yeah, you gotta subscribe. 30 seconds.
You don't.
Well,
what?
Come on.
No.
Shut up.
Be careful over there. No.
Okay. Sorry.
Yeah, just eat your empanadas. You've had a good day. Thanks, Johnny Mac.
Yeah, Johnny, you're a king. 5 seconds. Here we go.
Welcome back to Miller and Moulton, only on the Florida Sports Network.
It's 22 minutes until we're out of here. Miller and Moulton, the Florida Sports Network, floridasportsnetwork.com. A reminder tomorrow, Lee Sterling with his Bowl-a-Palooza picks, and also Roy Cummings to join us tomorrow on Miller and Moulton.
Time now for?
It's time for someone to take back this segment, if for no other reason than to stop David from talking about Meghan and Harry. Here's Mark Miller with Today Was the Day When.
1791. The Bill of Rights is ratified when Virginia gives its approval. 1792. The first life insurance policy is issued. 1854, the first street cleaning machine is used. Both the life insurance policy and the street cleaning machine, both used in Philadelphia for what it's worth.
Huh.
First hockey game at Madison Square Garden was today in 1925. The Canadiens beat the New York Americans 3-1. Today in 1935, the Detroit Lions beat the New York Giants for the National Football League championship, just proving that the Lions actually won a title in football.
There you go.
1939, Gone with the Wind premieres in Atlanta.
I heard it did well.
I think it's the highest, like with inflation adjusted, highest grossing film of all time. 1955, Folsom Prison Blues is released by Johnny Cash. It would end up being the song of the year 13 years later. 1967, retired baseball player Joe Garagiola joins the Today Show panel. This was happening long before Strahan joined Good Morning America. Just was a different sport. David, today in 73, Tennessee beat Temple 11-6 in basketball. Today in 1974, Young Frankenstein was released. What a tremendous movie. Little side note on that, when they're doing the whole Walk This Way thing, Aerosmith is recording an album. They all go to see Young Frankenstein. Walk This Way came from them seeing that scene in the movie, and that's where they got the words and the idea for that song.
Makes the movie even better.
1980, Dave Winfield signs 10 years, $15 million to become baseball's highest paid player.
Steinbrenner regretted it 2 days later.
Today in 1982, Bill Parcells becomes the 12th head coach of the New York Giants. Also, or today in 83, a year later, I just laughed at this when they picked on the Royals, David, because 3 Royals, Jerry Martin, Willie Aikens, and Willie Wilson, were all suspended due to cocaine usage. Why just 3 Royals?
Yeah, really. It was widespread throughout the sport in the late 70s and early 80s.
1992, Dr. Dre released The Chronic, one of the great hip-hop albums of all time. 1997, the Niners retired Joe Montana's number 16. 2002, Carson Palmer wins his Heisman. 2004, $1 Million Baby is released. Another just really happy movie.
Right.
2008, Sam Bradford wins his Heisman, and then he gets paid. Man, did he get paid.
When didn't he get paid?
2011, ESPN and the NCAA extend their TV rights deal through 2023-2024, giving the network the rights to 24 NCAA championships for various sports worth $500 million.
Yeah, they've already, I think, redone that deal and extended it.
And the Raiders played their final game in Oakland today in 2019, conceding 17 unanswered to the Jags to lose 20-16.
Think about that. They couldn't even beat the Jags in their farewell.
And you couldn't help it. You inserted just a little bit
of how it goes south. Just lose, baby. Just lose.
Tim Conway would have celebrated a birthday today, one of the funny human beings that's ever walked planet Earth. Art Howe is 76 and Rodney Harrison is 50. And that is today was the day when today, David. What did I miss?
For what it's worth, today was the day that Glenn Miller, the legendary band leader, his plane disappeared over the English Channel. And Mark, you were talking about toe tapper movies. All right. Today in 1993, Schindler's List opened.
Another really happy film.
I will say today is a historic day for what it led to. Technically, the very first free agent in Major League Baseball history was Jim Catfish Hunter. Because on this day in 74, an arbiter ruled him a free agent. He was playing for the Oakland A's. Charlie Finley was not living up to the contract. And the arbiter said the contract is quite clear as to what Finley is obligated to do. And it's also clear he's done none of it. And so Marvin Miller, head of the NFL, Major League Baseball Players Association, and he filed the grievance and the whole deal, and they won. He won the Cy Young in 74. He was the ace of the team that just won 3 straight World Series, and he's declared a free agent. And so who signed him? George Steinbrenner.
There should be a 30 for 30 on Charlie Finley. I mean, there's so much history to what he's done, good and bad.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. Charlie Finley deserves a 30 for 30. Yes. No question about it. From the uniforms, the promotional ideas, he literally fired the A's second baseman in the middle of the 73 World Series because he made a big error against the Mets. He literally called down to Dick Williams and said he's never to play again. A week later, the A's won the World Series and Dick Williams resigned instead of continuing to work for Charlie Finley. That's when you know you got a tough boss. You've won back-to-back World Series. You clearly have the best team in baseball. You're like, nah, I can't take this anymore.
Not another day. Get me the hell out of here.
For the record, Mark, in the winter of 74/75, Jim Catfish Hunter out on the open market, Steinbrenner gives him a 5-year deal for $3.75 million. So like $755,000 a year for 5 years. The sport lost its ever-loving mind.
Bill Russell grabbed 37 rebounds in a game today in 1960.
That's just another day that ends
Another
in
day.
Y, Felipe. I got to be honest with you. Guy averaged like 25 boards a game. I mean, come on.
You've heard folks elsewhere mock Florida is gonna Florida. Well, Mark Miller sees it differently. He calls it the good, the bad, and the ugly. What you got, Mark?
While speeding through a school zone is no joke, we go to Key Largo for the good, where Monroe County Sheriff Colonel Lou Capoto donned a Grinch costume Tuesday afternoon and stood side by side with other officers as they aimed radar speed detectors at cars traveling by a local elementary school. When they got pulled over, instead of a ticket, they got an onion.
What?
Gave him an onion. The Grinch was passing out onions instead of tickets. Instead of the warning, they got an onion. Dressed as the Grinch, the sheriff. I liked it. You two apparently didn't. Whatever.
No relation to Jason Capono, Heat legend.
That's it. You're fired.
Okay.
You're done.
Look, I know you're trying to, impress the girlfriend by talking a lot, but
no,
I think you can impress the girlfriend more by showing you're the strong silent type, Felipe.
Right. Just bring the empanadas back to the, apartment. That's fine.
We go to Bushnell, Florida for the bad, where Evangela Pinchuk decided to just abandon her car on the train tracks. She's 21, about 10 p.m. in her Honda Civic. She just got out of her car and started walking. A train collided with her vehicle. She was found walking nearby, a little drunk.
Little runk?
Little runk. She refused to give a breathalyzer. Got her DUI and was also cited for an improper stop on the railroad tracks with an expired tag. Nice mugshot with mascara everywhere. The crying did not work as she did not get out of the ticket.
Is there ever a proper stop on the railroad tracks? I mean,
dadgum good point.
Unless you're the conductor of the train, I don't see how you can get away with it. By the way, very quickly in the Twitch chat room, people are saying Andy Messersmith was a free agent before Catfish Hunter. No, he was not. That was a year later, and then that's when it exploded. So there.
Don't rile him up. He got a lot of sleep. I don't know what you're trying to do.
That's right. I'll do this all damn day.
We go to Memphis for the ugly, and as I've tried to read through the story to figure out what happened, Wesley Caldwell, a 22-year-old, struck Mark Coleman in the head with a golf club. Coleman went to retrieve a ball that was hit near the hole that Caldwell was playing. Apparently, Caldwell threw the ball, and then as Coleman was walking away, he clubbed him. Coleman's in serious condition, still in the hospital. Caldwell was arrested for aggravated assault, and that could stem up to a lot more. From the looks of it, and what I'm reading between the lines is that basically this guy hit into the group in front of him, and the guy in the group in front of him decided to hit the guy with the golf club.
Wow. That's
disturbing.
Yeah, and you actually should go to jail for that. I mean, hitting into the group is one, that's just, you're trying to make a point. You're being a bit of a yahoo, whatever. We yell at each other. We go our separate ways.
And that's the good, the bad, and the ugly.
Attack me with a golf club, Mark. Come on now. Hey, did you see the incident in the NHL game the other day? You know how hockey players, when they want to throw a tantrum, and they take their stick and they slam it against the glass.
Right.
Well, there's 3 areas on the bench of glass, the 2 sides and behind you. So the guy thinks he's on the end of the bench and there's no player next to him. Turns out he's the second to last player on the end of the bench. He takes his stick, takes it with the 2 hands, and just tomahawks it in anger against the glass and slams his teammate right in the face. It's in the NHL. And you could see the guy go like, oh man, sorry, my bad. And meanwhile, the guy who got hit is at first just holding his head. And after about 20 seconds, he looks at his teammate like, what in the world? How could you not know I'm sitting next to you on the bench?
Control your anger. Holy cow.
Now, I can go for a good stick slamming on the glass, but my goodness.
49ers Seahawks tonight. The 49ers are a 3-point favorite. David's taking the Seahawks. I am not. I am taking the Niners. Give me some Brock Purdy if he plays. That's probably the biggest question mark in tonight's game.
Gut feeling on the over-under. It's 43. I think I'd go under.
I would as well.
Close, but I think I'd go under. And yes, pay attention, ladies and gentlemen, to Brock Purdy's status. If you're going to bet this game, 90 minutes beforehand, they have to declare who's active and inactive. He's officially listed as questionable with an oblique injury.
4 games in the association tonight. The Heat are at the Rockets. The Heat are a 3.5-point favorite. Milwaukee is at Memphis. New Orleans at Utah. And Phoenix at the Clippers for the late one tonight.
Second back-to-backs for the Heat. You think they pull it off? They were in OKC last night. They won late.
Playing a worse team, but that's tough to go back-to-back. I don't like their chances tonight, to be brutally honest with you.
No, I think I'd take the Rockets, who'd they beat the other day? Oh, they beat Phoenix the other day at home. It was an emotional game because Silas came back after the death of his dad. Both the Lightning and Panthers, Mark, in action tonight at home. Tampa Bay hosting Columbus. Ladies and gentlemen, you have a chance to see Sidney Crosby and Evgeny Malkin in person. I'm sure there are tickets available. Pittsburgh at the Panthers, 7 o'clock start. Now, Sid's not retiring anytime soon, but still. I mean, if you're going across the alley to see Ovechkin, you can go across the alley to see Sid.
Probably the game of the night involves your team again. Leafs are at the Rangers.
I know. Rangers have won 4 in a row, and the Leafs have one of the best records in the league.
And what is Mariners still got the streak going, too.
Yeah, and Toronto's a favorite on the road at the Garden. So you can get Shesterkin and some odds. I think I'd take it. So that's it. No World Cup. No nothing till the weekend. 3rd place match on Saturday. Championship match 10 a.m. Sunday, Argentina and France on Big Fox.
And
Bowl
very
games
little
start tomorrow.
Tonight. Yeah, college football starts tomorrow morning. Very little college hoop tonight. Wisconsin's the only ranked team in action. They're a 23-point favorite at home against Lehigh.
City of Palms, what gets underway tomorrow?
Yes, sir.
Felipe's doing the social media for the tournament.
And court mopping, I hope?
No court mopping.
No, that's a Fort Myers tip-off.
No, but if they stink, though, because the kids do the mopping, I take over sometimes. It's like, let me show you how it's done. Yeah.
There you go. See, around us, Mark, he has no seniority. But, at the City of Palms, he gets his listen, I'm a college graduate. I majored in floor mopping. Let me show you.
I can wipe sweat off the floor better than any of you, and let me explain why.
You should see me in rec league action, how I clean the floor.
The refs never need to question it.
And sometimes we question why you're here, Felipe. But at least enjoy the empanadas. Miller and Moulton, have a great rest of your day. We'll be back for a Football Friday tomorrow morning, 6 a.m.
The waterways of Naples are a beauty to behold, and the Bayfront Inn